Good morning, Dark Calorian. Good morning, Dark Calorian. Lel. Okay. Good morning, Dark Calorian. Bye bye, Dark Calorian. Bye bye. À mon Choral. Let's see what the audio is like. Let's see what the audio is like. Hey, Zombie Robin. Fuck. Let's see what the audio is like. Hey, Zombie Robin. Fuck. I have no idea. It should be fine at like this. Let's load game. Looks like those who run for their precious lives. Like a doomed person knowing that there is no hope to save his life, will still fight the inevitable and his own fate. I barely managed to close the heavy metal door behind me. I have no idea how deep this bomb shelter is or if it's able to withstand a nuclear blast, but we have no other place to hide. She gripped my hand tight. Don't be afraid. Bits of the ceiling were falling and the walls were shaken. I was prepared for the worst, but this is the kind of thing that you can't ever be prepared for. But suddenly, complete silence fell. It rang even louder than the explosions. Maybe it's time to say goodbye. She was whimpering. I wanted to comfort her somehow, but realized that there was nothing I could do. Yes, you know I. A horrible bang almost split my eardrums. It seems that I'm under a piece of collapsed ceiling, but I don't feel any pain. All I want is to not let her go. Let me just check. Oh, it's muted. There we go. I woke up in a cold sweat, short of breath and gasping for air. I woke up, yeah. It took me some time to come to my senses. It was a dream. It was just a dream. I don't think the world record is appropriate for this game. My questioning mind, however, refused to believe it. Like, nobody in their right mind would speedrun running a book. So, I mean, obviously. But who was the girl with me there? I didn't want to let go of her hand so desperately. Sadly, I couldn't recall her at all. The clocks was showing a few minutes past 10. So I was looking up earlier, or yesterday evening, how long is this game? And apparently it's like 3 hours, but I've been playing for 8. But I'm also reading out the text. Hello, Ninis. I slowly came to my senses as reality started to stake out its claim on my mind, and my stomach foully growled. Alright, war is war, but lunch should be served in due time. It turned out that Olga Dmitrievna wasn't there. She must have decided not to wake me up. Well, thanks go out of our camp leader for this. After yesterday's adventures, I had to have a rest. Last night remained a blurry memory, which I really didn't want to think about. It's now more important to find something to eat and to wash myself. Exactly, because a pioneer must always be clean and tidy. How are you liking the Last Guardian, Ninnies? Yeah, the poster on the left is like a creepy face. And this is some kind of a guy with a paper bag on his head. Kind of interesting. Also, I think this poster has a paper bag on the head. I'm not sure. Can't really see. And always point out I find it weird that you can see the time on this clock. And then sometimes it says in the dialogue here, oh, it's this late, and then you see this time and it doesn't add. Also, this room is way too unclean. Also, I'm not sure why. Why does he even care about cleaning up? I don't think he even cared about those things when he was like in the real world. Though I would agree with this principle even if I wasn't a pioneer. And as a matter of fact, I'm not. I guess he does care about his hygiene. On my way to the wasteland, I met Electronic. He started to wave his hand and ran up to me. Monsieur all advanced to level 12. Good morning. Thank you for finding Shurik. Without them, I didn't even... It's nothing. I was a bit embarrassed. No, really, don't be so shy. The country must be proud of its heroes. And what about Shurik? How did he look this morning? So apparently what we did, rescue Shurik, was not a dream. Is he alright, since he also asked about it? After yesterday's craziness, I thought such a question was completely valid. Yes, absolutely. The only thing is that he can't remember anything, can't he? I wasn't surprised at all. He says that he went to a bandit camp yesterday and then woke up in his bed in the morning. I mean, he remembers nothing between those two events. I see. Alright then. You missed breakfast, right? Come to our club, we'll feed you. I have something special. Wink. This is more like speed reading, but I'm not a fast reader at all. Electronic smiled in a conspirational way. Thanks, I'll come. Probably. I had to wash myself first anyway. After that for sure, we'll be waiting. He waved at me and left to carry out his own business. There was nobody near the wash stands. Don't go alone. The weather turned out surprisingly warm today. It's been warmed up already, I guess. Having my face washed, I realized that it wouldn't be easy to wash the rest of my body here. Maybe I should go to the showers, but since there is nobody here, I turned the tap in such a way so water streamed parallel to the ground and started to take off my clothes. Speed undressing. And what if somebody sees me? Well, I'll rinse and dry myself quickly and put on my clothes. The water, which seemed warm on my hands and face, felt bone-chillingly cold on my body. The whole washing process took no longer than 10 seconds and I started to wipe myself quickly afterwards. But I didn't manage to finish anyway. There were voices coming in from the direction of the footpath. The only solution came to me in a split second. I grabbed my clothes and dashed into the bushes. A moment later, Elisa and Eliana appeared near the washstand. You could have done it by yourself. Why did you bring me here? Is it a big deal for you? Fine, let me. I peered at them and noticed that they were both covered in red paint. What a surprise. I wonder how they managed that. Elisa opened the bell and started to rub Liliana's back. Take off your bra. What if somebody sees us? What? Is there anything to see? She grinned. Okay, just be quick. It was true that there wasn't much to look at, but even so I stared at the girls narrowly. It was a pity that they were standing with their backs to me. A minute later, Elisa managed to wash off all of the paint. I'm done. Thanks. You're welcome. Elisa replied lazily. Listen, let me try on yours. She pointed at Elisa's bra. It won't fit you for sure. Well, I'd like to try anyway. But out here, there's nobody here, right? Liliana looked my way and smiled harshly. I was absolutely sure she couldn't see me in these bushes, but enough with the nonsense. Liliana wasn't listening to her anymore and grabbed Elisa's bra with a dexterous move instead. Now, I have to confess, I had something to look at. I watched the two girls chase one another around the wash stand with bated breath. Elisa covered her breast with her hands so I could barely see anything at all. I leaned forward and stumbled over a stone falling out of the bushes. Elisa and Yana stood frozen, staring at me. I tried to cover my nudity with my guilty face. The tableau lasted for a few seconds, then Elisa took her shirt and somehow put it on in an instant. You. Her face going from red to purple. It looked like she would explode in a nuclear blast any second. The only thing I wanted was to disintegrate into atoms and to get as far from the epicenter as possible. He was sitting there the whole time, so she noticed me then. You, and I accidentally, if you know what I mean. Elisa rushed at me, covering my butt with one hand and holding my clothes with the other. I ran in the woods. It seemed the best solution to me at the time, as showing up naked in the middle of the camp, accompanied by two screaming girls, wasn't a good idea. I ran without looking back and stopped a few minutes later to catch my breath. It seemed that there was no pursuit, so I managed to save myself, but at the cost of lacerated, scratched and bleeding feet, as I had no time to put on my boots. I sat on a tree stump and sighed. Sometime later, having dressed already, I left the forest. I need to decide what to do next. My feet are hurting, so I should go straight to infirmary. I mean, how bad could it be? But on the other hand, my stomach isn't going to wait either. Maybe I should accept Electronic's invitation, or head to the canteen in the hopes of finding something left to eat there. I think we should just go for the clubhouse. Yeah. I was desperately hungry. I always took good care of my health, and even better care of the times when something started to hurt badly. And now I was able to walk, and my feet weren't even hurting much. So my feet will heal up eventually, while my hunger can't wait. I decided to take advantage of Electronic's invitation. In the end, knowing the local pioneers, it was smart to assume that there wasn't even a piece of stale bread left at the canteen. Exactly. And the cybernetic clubs actually somewhat owe me. With just thought, I approached the club's building and heard screams coming from it. I tried to listen closely but couldn't figure out anything. Give it back! No, I won't. Diana was running around the room with a coil of wire in her hand, chased by Shuri. Guys, I'm sorry to interrupt, but give it back. They didn't even give me a bit of attention. No, I won't. Shuri completely caught up in the chase, slipped past me, almost knocked me down. Hey. Diana was running in circles around the room, laughing cheerfully. I wonder what she needs the wire for. Meanwhile, the head of the cybernetics club was looking fine, even after yesterday's madness. One could say he was looking fresh. But this probably wouldn't help him to catch Illyana. She was smaller, more agile, and faster after all. She could easily drive him to exhaustion. Hey. Illyana ran up to me and hid behind my back. Shuri, in his turn, left the club, slamming the door on his way out. He was offended, it seemed. Hey, what's wrong with you? You can catch me. She looked at Electronic, who was silently observing all the silly running, and stuck out his tongue at him. Stuck out her tongue at him, I don't know. Semyon, take the wire away from her. And why do you need it in the first place? You don't have enough wire or something? He was trying to catch Illyana, who was hiding behind me. He moved to the right while she moved to the left. He moved to the left, she moved to the right. In the end I got tired of it and grabbed the wire from Illyana with one dexterous move. Give it to me. Give it back. She shouted resentfully. No, I won't. Stop horsing around. I held the wire above my hand so Illyana, with her height, couldn't possibly get it. Thank you. Okay, fine. She snorted and turned away from me. Why do you need it in the first place? That's none of your business. Illyana looked at me slyly. Do you want me to tell everybody what you... I shut her mouth with my hand and dragged her along to the exit. Okay, we need to go. I told Electronic while giggling stupidly. And what did you come for? Once outside, I let the kicking Illyana free. Hear me out, do you realize that it was an accident? Even more so, it was caused by you. I know nothing. Facts are facts, you were watching us. Aw. What would Ilya, oh god, your Mitrona think? On the one hand, I didn't want to care in the slightest what the camp leader would say, but on the other hand, everything was against me, and in my position, it would be better to not get myself into such a situation. Fine, maybe we could make a deal somehow. She started to think. I know. I anticipated the worst. You bring me that wire. But what do you need it for? I need it for my needs. Okay, let's assume I get it. You won't tell anybody. Give you the word of a pioneer. Lel. Could hardly believe her. But on the other hand, it was just a coil of wire, so why shouldn't I try? Let's just do it. Okay, fine. Deal. But you must know that... Yeah, of course. She interrupted me. Wait here. Saying that, I went back into the club's quarters. The Sonic was building something with rapt attention. Now I'm done with everything. So I thought you could get me something as you promised. My voice sounded a bit psychopathic, which was enough to drive me mad. Of course, I am not insisting, but 1 minute. He tore himself away from his work and got a pair of buns from the drawer and a classic triangular pack of kefir. Be my guest. Thank you. While I was busy eating, Electronic didn't turn away from his device for a second. He was rolling up the wire which I had taken away from Ilyana onto the coal, and it was a wire she wanted. So what's this? An inductor. Inductor? Join our club and you'll know everything. He looked at me and smiled slightly. I'll think about it. Of course, I wasn't going to join anything, but taking into account that he had fed me, I had to be polite. By the way, as I said, I have something else. Well, yeah, wait a second. He went into the adjacent room and came back after a minute with some kind of package. Tan-ta-da! He gave it to me. There was a big bottle of Stolichnaya vodka inside. I get it, but it's still morning. Or does Electronics share the motto of get drunk in the morning, take the entire day off? What are you talking about? I'm not suggesting we drink it. We have it to clean the optics. Cleaning the optics, so yeah, right. Internally. Okay. I gave him the package back. By the way, can you spare me this coil? What do you need it for? Probably I had to think about reason beforehand. I just need it. But we can't do without it as well. Do you? Well, never mind then. I can't just force him to give it to me, right? I'll go then. Come back anytime, of course. The moment I want to have a drink. Walking out, I questioned myself why I wanted to show me the vodka in the first place. Oriana ran up to me instantly. And so, have you got it? No. That's your own fault then. Do you need this wire at all? But you got credit for trying, wow. I mean, he could have just taken it anyway. Or just try harder. What? I was surprised. Alisa would tell everything anyway. Eliana laughed. She's really angry with you, I bet. I muttered quietly. Okay, see ya. She waved at me and ran away. Here I am, in a stupid situation once again, no big deal. It's not the first time. Suddenly my hunger returned again. For sure, a meal of some buns and kefir was awesome, but it's not enough to fill me up. Luckily for me, I heard the bell sound calling pioneers for lunch. The day has just started and I've gone through so many things already. But I did it and now have legitimate grounds to fill myself up. Today I wasn't the last one, so I could choose a free table. Lunch included pea soup and mashed potatoes with fish. It was a major disappointment to me as I don't eat fish in any form and hunch will get fewer calories than usually. Soon Slavia and Lena came to my table. Can we? She smiled nicely, like who? I don't know. Yeah, sure. I stood up and pulled out a chair for her. Please. I was in an excellent mood at that moment. Enjoy your meal. Saying that, Lana began staring at me and continued for some time, but then, after realizing how odd she looked, switched to her plate. You too. Do you have any plans for today, Semyon? Hey, little gremlin. Nope. I gave her an honest answer, as indeed I had no plans. Except for searching for answers, but that was more like a global goal. Do you want to take a boat ride to the island with us? The island? Well, I think I've seen it from the pier. For what? Olga Dimitrievna asked us to gather some strawberries. There are a lot of strawberries there and they're so delicious. I could imagine the taste without even eating it, just by looking at Slavia's face. Strawberries? And what are those for? I don't know, but it's indeed a great idea. Well, indeed it is. Moreover, I haven't been to the island yet. Yeah, sure. ... If you're playing the drinking game, that's a shot. Within minutes, we were already standing at the pier. Well, here is the boat. Hang on, I'll go and fetch the paddles now. I was left face to face with Lena. Do you like strawberries? Well, not really, but they're tasty. Lena smiled. I see. I didn't know what to say next, how to continue the conversation. If Slavia didn't come back, we could probably sit here till the evening without saying a word. Here you go. She handed me a pair of hefty paddles. Yeah, thanks. So I'm gonna be the one rowing this boat, I guess. We got into the boat. I untied it, pushed off the shore and tried to start paddling. And where exactly are we heading to? Right there. She pointed her finger to the island. Little gremlin advanced level 2. The island is named the closest one. I wonder what Captain gave it such an original name. Well, the island is indeed close to the shore. Aye aye, Captain. If only I'd known what was waiting for me ahead. I wasn't an experienced oarsman. I'd rowed a boat just once or twice in my entire life. It was less than half a mile to the island, but we were making our way in zigzags thanks to my skills. By approximately the middle of the trip, my arms hurt so badly I dropped the paddles to get some rest. Well, aren't there any strawberries anywhere else? I mean, in more accessible areas. But the tastiest ones grow there. Slavia gave me a puzzled look. Is it hard for you to row alone? Lena, unlike Slavia, understood everything straight away. Oh, it's nothing. Anyway, I couldn't let a fragile jewel help me. The rest of the way I spent concentrating on staying alive while getting to the island. Slavia and Lena discussed something, but I wasn't listening. That was too much for me. At last we arrived. Completely exhausted, I got out on the shore and looked at the boathouse. It seemed so far away, and I felt like the first person on the moon watching the Earth rise. Here you go. Slavia handed me a basket. It was a small island, barely 100 meters long, and it looked more like a birch grove with even rows of trees covering its entire surface. A calm green sea spread beneath our feet, with wind causing lonely waves on its surface from time to time. This island looked like a lost paradise. It's no wonder that the most delicious strawberry grow just here. We've got to split up. That way will do the job faster. Yeah, sure. But there are only 2 baskets, said Lena Huntley. Oh, you're right, my bad. So how are we going to split then? Let me go with you. Let's go. Okay, that's fine. Slavia grabbed the second basket and ventured to the opposite side of the island. Well, let's go. Yeah. Lena smiled. Just pay attention. Don't leave a single berry behind. You too. ... So, it was harvest time. Indeed, the strawberries here were delicious. I could probably just eat them all if I didn't stop myself in time. Hey Rilcenzo. Despite being wild grown, the berries were close to garden ones in size and had rich red color, so it was clear that our visit here wasn't in vain. Lena followed me closely as we had only 1 basket for the both of us. I felt like a real mushroom picker, examining each shrub and carefully potting the grass. Well, you're much better than me. Am I? Frankly, I'm not even counting them. Yeah, right you are. The basket was already half full. You must be enjoying nature, right? I had like 2 runs or so at BSG speedrun marathon, so if you wanna face cam. You must be enjoying nature, right? I do. Also in like 1.5 week or so there's gonna be BSG where I'll do shadow classes as well. The bright sun rays pierced the treetops and blinded me for a second. I sat down on the ground and leaned against a tree. Still, it's so beautiful here. Then I sat down next to me, so close that our elbows touched. Yeah. We just sat and enjoyed the moment. Seemed like time stood still. The wind gently shook the tree leaves. Some bugs lazily hopped around the grass and splashes of sunlight played on the faraway water surface. Then I put her head on my shoulder. I was surprised at first, but I heard her regular breathing and thought that it's just a matter of course. Probably she felt drowsy and wanted to take a quick nap. I just sat there and didn't think of anything for a few minutes. But then words started crossing my mind with ultrasonic speed. Lena, so close, sleeping, so warm, so gentle. Feelings. I gazed at her. She had such a serene, such a tranquil look on her face that it seemed that right now she's not here, but in some kind of better world. Didn't know what would have happened the next moment if I didn't hear the voice of Slavia. Slavia and Lena. I shook my head from side to side a few times to come to my senses. Lena started to wake up. She opened her eyes and gave me an empty look. Have a nice dream, huh? Suddenly realizing that she had dozed off, leaning on my shoulder, Lena blushed. Oh, I'm sorry. It's fine. Slavia game over to us, so Lena rushed to get up. So how much have you got? I sighed. That's not a lot. Her basket was filled with strawberries to the brim. Well, it's enough anyway. It's time to get back. I grabbed the basket and we headed back to the boat. The way back took less time as I tried to concentrate on rowing and ignoring everything else. My only wish was to get back alive, as the first trip hadn't gone without consequence, and now my hands started to hurt after only a few sweeps of the oars. Having tied up the boat, I fell to the ground with no energy left. Slavia and Lena leaned over me. You could have said something if it was so hard for you. Yes. Never mind, it's fine. I'll just lie here for a bit and everything will be alright. Okay then, get those baskets to Olga Dmitrievna, please. We have something else to do. Yeah, sure. I was ready to agree with anything at that moment, just so I wouldn't have to get up. Slavia put the basket full of strawberries next to me and headed to the square, happily chatting with Lena about something. Right, so they just leave me with the strawberries. That's great. The hardest part is done anyway. That's what I thought before I got up and took the baskets. After the rowing, they felt like cement bags, even while weighing barely more than a few kilograms each. So the trip to the camp leader's cabin took much longer than usual. I had to stop every 50 meters to have a rest. I'm surprised he doesn't even eat any of the strawberries, or any of those characters eat any of them. Once I finally made it, I put the baskets on the ground and sat on the deck chair with difficulty. Olga Dmitrievna, I've got presents for you. There was no answer. I barely managed to get up and enter the cabin. There was nobody there. If you don't need them, it's up to you. I lay down on the deck chair and fell asleep. I had a weird dream about a strawberry race. I was rowing a boat with my last ounces of strength, trying to escape huge berries that were chasing me. My hands were failing me and I could barely see anything because of the sweat covering my face. Blood was hammering in my temples. But the strawberries were getting closer. They were baring their teeth at me. But wait, strawberries with teeth. Semyon. I woke up. Olga Dmitrievna was standing beside me, shaking my shoulder. I see you got a rich harvest, didn't you? Yep, I tried my best, or thanks to the girl's help. I guess thanks to the girl's help. Okay, but that's not all. Seriously, I was just anticipating the lovely rest I was about to have. Do you even know what these strawberries are for? Not a clue. Apparently not for eating. What honest confession. We'll make a cake out of them. What a surprise. I see, well, that makes sense. To honor the miraculous rescue of Shurik, and it's all thanks to you. It's clear that getting the strawberries wasn't the last thing left to do. Why? Please tell me, if I am such a hero, why do I have to organize a celebration in my name, all by myself? Well, I guess. Am I supposed to bake the cake as well? So, I have an important task for you. We're missing yeast, flour, and sugar. I need it all in the canteen before dinner. But those who will make the cake can't deal with it on their own somehow. I asked pitifully. Of course they can't. All of them are busy. And you are the only one in the whole camp who does nothing. My little gremlin eats strawberries, but he tries to eat the grass too, trying to keep him from eating stems. Yeah, obviously. While her words were partly true, that doesn't make it any easier for me now. Moreover, those words felt like a bullet to my head. So write it down. You'll get yeast in the infirmary, flour in the library, and sugar in the clubhouse. Obviously those things are in those places. Wait, I have no time, I'm in a hurry. Good luck. She smiled sadly and left. Of course, there are a lot of strange things in this camp, but yeast in the infirmary? Okay, I can deal with that, but flour in the library? And sugar? No, it's way beyond my comprehension. I spat on the floor. I don't want to, and I will not believe this. Just tell me you're pulling my leg. I could not be surprised I would not be surprised if a crowd of fat green trolls would appear here right now beside me, with every one of them feeling obligated to laugh at me. Yeah, why would you keep kitchen items in the kitchen? Or ingredients, or edibles. So maybe to hell with this cake. I weighed my options for some time. No, if such a major plan of Olga Dmitrievna fell through, I'd be in for a world of hurt. And it would completely complicate both my life in the camp and my search for answers, which I've stopped for quite a while. It seems I have no choice. Okay, well, we'll go with, so the kitchen is right over here. This is where the ingredients need to go. And currently I'm over here, maybe? I'm not sure which is... Oh, this is the cabin. I guess it doesn't really matter for optimal route. Let's just go with the infirmary first, since it's like the first place that she mentioned. I feel like I've visited the infirmary too often recently, but what can I do? That's how things pan out. I sighed and knocked on the door. Come in. The nurse sat with a trace of sing-song accent. Hey, Acolyte. You missed 2 shots already. They were like, how many times? Like, last one was 12 minutes ago, I think. And before that, there was 13 minutes ago? No, it's like 12 and 17 minutes ago. Like a lil. Your laptop arrived and it's awesome. That's great. I saw that in the Discord. Hope you enjoy it. Good afternoon. Olga Dmitrievna sent me to get some I hesitated slightly. Yeast. Ah, sure. She gave me a broad smile. It's just that I don't have any. Pioneer. How so? She said that. Well, I had some, but now there's none left. I didn't even bother asking why she had it in the first place. Well, don't you worry. You can have some aspirin, for example. That could be of some use to me, actually. Where do I get it then? I sighed. Take this. She opened a drawer and pulled out some kind of bottle. What? Aston Kinsbooth was a well-known brand of cheap beer in USSR. I took a closer look. It's a beer. ... That's a shot. If you're playing the drinking game, what's the matter? Beer is only a fermented product. She gave me a deep gaze. Nobody will even notice. She had a point, but everything just looked so grotesque to me that I couldn't find anything to say. Are you sure? Absolutely. Okay then. The bottle clearly couldn't fit into the pocket of my shorts. Well, thanks. I mumbled shyly, leaving the infirmary. Well, beer certainly could replace yeast. Even my limited knowledge of chemistry and biology was enough to accept this. But generally, walking around with this bottle in my hand looked like a silly idea to me, so I decided to bring it to Olga and meet at my cabin and hide it there. But I had to reach it somehow without anybody noticing the beer. I hid the bottle under my shirt, and everything would have been fine, but Slavia called out to me at the square. Actually, she sprang out. I'm not even sure. Let me just check on something. I need to check this. I'm not even sure. Let me just check on something. Yeah, it seems like the audio for the game is a little bit loud at this point. You download Dark Souls now. Why would you download League of Legends though? Slavia called at me at the square. Actually, she sprang out from behind me. I suddenly... So suddenly that I even gave a start. How's it going? What exactly? You search for ingredients. Ah, so you know already. Yes, I do. Slavia smiled. It's going alright. I answered, trying not to give away my unrest. And what do you have there? She pointed at the bottle sticking out from under my shirt. Ah, this. She got me. Ah, it's nothing. I blushed with a silly giggle. It's time to go. I was almost running, leaving the square with the puzzled Slavia behind. It's great that she is one of those people who don't ask a necessary question. You like this game? Okay. But there are people in this camp who like nothing better than to poke their noses into other people's business. Passing the pioneers' cabins, I stumbled upon Ilyana. What are you hiding there? She gave me one of her cheeky looks. Like, I would never really... I mean, it's such a bad idea to be hiding something like this. I mean, you just... Especially in a game like this, you just get into way more trouble than it's even... There's nothing going on and you're trying to hide a beer bottle which you actually legitimately need for legit purposes, and you just hide it for the wrong reason. That's just great. I thought there was no point in denying anything, so I repeated in a provocative manner. It's none of your business. It's a chipper officer bearing a message to headquarters. That's certainly a big message. I was carrying a bottle at waist height, so I was slightly embarrassed. You want some help? I'll deal with it on my own. I walked past her confidently and proceeded on my way. To my surprise, she didn't say anything nor try to pursue me. There was nobody at Olga Dimitrievna's night coven, so I successfully managed to stuff the bottle under my bed. So now certainly there's two people that I met on the way from the infirmary to the cabin, which is really close by, which are both super suspicious about me, and they see me getting into this cabin, and then obviously as soon as I get back here it's gonna be gone. It's gonna be gone. Once I got outside, I sighed with relief. Really, I couldn't believe that I would ever worry that much about a single bottle of beer. Like, even 3 people could mess this up. Like, if Olga Dimitrievna gets to the cabin, sees the beer, or somehow finds it, it's gonna be gone, because they have no clue what it's supposed to be doing. The other 2 girls, they might just be curious and look around the cabin because they see me get in there. That's like great. I mean, I would have at least kept the beer like close to me. I mean, just whatever. I mean, or at least get a bag to carry it. I don't know. Like, I was back in high school. That's a good thing. It's safe now. It's not safe, man. Even if somebody finds it, I'll claim that it's not mine. But then it's gonna be destroyed or, I don't know, thrown away. I could always think of a suitable excuse from my enormous experience. Let's go for the library for some flour. If every other place on the cake ingredients made at least some sense to me, then flour from the library made none. I thought hard about who would put it in the library and why, but couldn't find any sane explanation after all. Given Sonia's harsh nature, I'd better knock first. Open. Sonia peered at me closely from behind her glasses. What do you mean? Or what do you want? Don't think anything weird, but I didn't want to look like an idiot and decided to explain things carefully. Well, that certainly makes you look like an idiot. I need some flour. Olga Dimitrievna said that it's here. I understand that it sounds strange to keep the flour in the library, but I was sent to you and it's needed for a cake to celebrate Sherry's rescue. Yes, I have the flour. What's so strange about it? Sonia replied with surprise. At that second, I felt like I'd been hit on the head with a heavy weight and lost the ability to understand anything at all. Flour in the library. Sure, that's so strange. What's so strange about it? We're in Wonderland. I'm Alice now. I'm going to eat that magic mushroom and I'll be back home. Hey. Yeah? I was daydreaming. Wait here, I'll be right back. She disappeared behind the bookshelves while I folded my hands and started waiting. A moment later, the sound of a trapdoor groaning on its hinges reached me. Hey, you need some help? I inquired loudly. I'll deal with it. Sonia barked out to me. She seemed to be in the basement, so I'll have to wait a little. Okie dokie. A few minutes passed, but Sonia still hadn't returned. I was starting to get worried when the door was suddenly flung open and Elisa came into the library. She looked surprised too, seeing me here. What are you doing here? Am I not allowed to be here? I said rudely to her. Alisa was clearly a bit underwhelmed. What do I care? She snorted and headed to Xenia's table. And why are you here then? Alisa measured me with her eyes carefully and almost opened the mouth to say something, but then seemed to change her mind and turned away, hiding her hands behind her back. Returning a book? I blurted the first thing off the top of my head. It's none of your business. She replied with a hint of hesitation. What book is it? Alisa was silent. Oh, come on, let me see it. I wonder what Miss High Voltage Keep Away reads. It's none of your business. Didn't you just really say that? That's not very kind. Her voice was even less confident. Okay, I don't insist on or anything. In fact, I was quite interested to find out what Alisa was reading. Moreover, I was quite amused to see a book in her hands. TV, movies, or a computer, if one were available here. All these things seemed to be much more appropriate entertainment for a girl like her. But she had a book instead. I'm not gonna try to snatch the book, I mean, stay on guard. Curiosity killed the cat. Anyway, it's Alisa, and that means it could quickly turn into a total mess. Plus, I still have ingredients to collect. Well, I'll come later. Alisa left the library quickly without looking at me. It got me thinking, what could this book could be about if she was so ashamed of it? I mean, it's not... Yeah, whatever. Unashamed Alisa is something extraordinary by itself, I mean, you know. But Alisa ashamed about a book. I don't know, she probably doesn't even want to talk to this character anyway. But what's the point in guessing now? There's no way to find anything out. Finally, Xenia, deep groan, ran out, reaching each and every corner of the library. Grab it! I passed by the bookshelves and beheld the perspiring librarian sitting near the trapdoor leading into the basement with a small sack next to her. I'd never get cake made with so many hotties about. Lel. Well, they might have some sort of storehouse down here. Thanks. Like, what do we care? I took the sack and left the library. Thank goodness it wasn't too heavy, so I carried it down to Olga Dmitrovna Kevin without too much effort. Oh well. So apparently the route that I had in mind is completely arbitrary, because it seems that we go from here to there, and then to there, to there, or the other way around. So it's just, yeah. Doesn't matter which order. It feels like I've gone through more things today than all the previous days combined. Well, you're not even taking an optimal route, come on. Thus, approaching the clubhouse, I'd even forgotten to think about how awkward it must be to look for Sugar there. Shirk and Electronic were enthusiastically building something. A robot with boobs. They were so busy that they didn't even notice me. I looked closely. It was some kind of robot, or at least the body of one. Moreover, this robot was female and had animal ears. I didn't want to make up theories about purpose for such a device or for luminaries of Camp Cybernetics. Even though the design looked particularly workable, I had my doubts about this robot ever being able to conquer Earth, or at least being able to do anything on its own. But they seem to be enjoying the process more than the end result itself. And that was something we shared, even though I didn't want to admit it. On the other hand, they weren't afraid of possible failure, criticism, or jokes. They were working towards their goal without paying attention to others who would call it unrealistic or even absurd. Oh, it looks like I'm truly comparing them to luminaries of the sciences. Hey guys, I greeted them uncertainly. Hey Lamau. Oh, Semyon, come in. We're always glad to see you. I was actually already inside. You know, sorry for what happened yesterday. I barely remember anything, but, well, never mind, it's okay. And what brings you to our humble abode? Electronic looked at me slyly. Hey Kyola. Sometimes I feel that he makes such a face when he knows something about the other person, something he can use in a right moment. Sugar. I need sugar. An image from an ancient video game suddenly came into my mind, where some kind of unit like a builder or something cried out with all of its 5-pixel stature. Gold. We need more gold. What is going on here? Just visual novels. It's actually a Russian visual novel. We got it. It's electronic only. Okay. Why would you want it? I felt that I shouldn't explain to Shurik that they want to bake a cake for him. I shouldn't spoil the surprise. I don't know. Olga Dmitrievna told me to get some. Okay, hang on. Electronic disappeared behind the door into the next room. And why do you have sugar here? Why not in the canteen? When the food truck came last time, it was the last thing to unload. And given that our building is the closest one to the entrance, they decided to leave it here to save some effort. That's reasonable, isn't it? The door opened, revealed Electronic, hauling a huge bag behind him. I really don't know what the size of the cake will be, but that was obviously too much sugar. Well, thanks, but I don't eat all. But where would you put it? Where would we put it? Electronic gave me a surprised look. We don't have a place for it. You asked for sugar, so take it. It seems that that previous smile of his wasn't there without reason. Maybe you'll help me then? It's not that far to carry. We're busy. He pointed his hand at the robot. I gazed at Shurik. He owed me after all. He hesitated and then looked away in shame. I sighed, took the bag and headed to the door. Thanks anyway. I sat at porting, exerting myself. Well, maybe it saved effort for the truck driver or the guy that did the delivery. But I didn't make it too far. Just after a mere 20 meters, I had to put the bag down to have a rest. I had no idea how much it weighed, but it felt more like 20 kilos. On the one hand, it was just 200 meters to the canteen. On the other hand, even such a distance with this payload on my shoulder, or alternatively in my hands, or on my legs, or under my arm, or even on my head, looked impossible for me to cover. And as I resigned myself to move in minor sprints, with prolonged pauses between them, so I could get there by night at least, I heard a voice behind me. "Maybe I could help you?" I saw Elena in front of me. "I don't think you can." It was one of those moments when I felt painfully how dramatically I was out of shape. "I can bring a hand guard. Why didn't I think of that myself?" "Yes, that would be great. Wait here, I'll be right back." She smiled and ran in the direction of the square. What could I do without her? It's good that Lena isn't always that shy and can take the initiative sometimes. I started to think she seemed quite unusual now, with no trace of shyness on her face and actually the complete opposite, smiles and confidence. They've butchered a great Soviet book and film. The offer of help wasn't something extraordinary by itself, but getting it from Lena. A few moments later, she came back with a smallish hand cord. I put the bag down onto it. "Thanks. Don't mention it." She blushed and looked away. "Oh, the Lena we all know is back." "Oh, I'll go then." "Yes, see you. And thank you again," I shouted after her. Sometimes I felt like there are two different people living inside of Lena, but the second one, confident, happy, and sometimes even bold, only appears when she talks to me. Or am I making things up again? I thought that it would be better if I get all the ingredients at once, so I headed to Olga Dmitrievna's cabin with the hand card, and was it still there? Finally, it seems that everything had been collected, or is it? I took the hand cart with sugar outside and put the sack with the flour in it, followed by the 2 baskets of strawberries that somehow fitted in between. And the beer was hidden under my shirt just in case. The day was coming to its end, so I had to hurry, as cake itself will need some time to bake. Of course, I'd rather enjoy lying down, closing my eyes and getting a decent sleep, but I couldn't let Olga Dmitrievna down. Indeed, after all the trouble I'd gone to, I even felt personally responsible for the success of this event. Yeah, the beer is the yeast, I guess. Coming to the square, I stopped for a moment to catch my breath. It wasn't that the cart was heavy. It ran smoothly, without any noticeable effort required. It was just that any physical exhaustion caused pain to me now, both a physical and mental one. I sat down on the bench and closed my eyes for a moment. What's that? I didn't really give a damn who it was. Probably just a fellow pioneer girl taking an interest in an unfamiliar companion in distress. What are you talking about? I asked her tiredly. Okay, somebody asks, what's that? Hey Camel, thanks for the host. Hey Sponge. How did your stream go? I'm just reading visual novels, like Lel. Hey Rezajian. She didn't reply. Those are the ingredients for the cake. Do you like cakes? I don't know. What? You've never tried cake? I don't know. Obviously the girl didn't get what I was talking about, but it didn't surprise me for that moment. I really wasn't interested in the conversation, so I was so tired that I had zero intention of classifying external distractions and tagging them as either common or uncommon. Hey Milan. Grandpa raid. Hey Tales of Ill. No, I do not do a girl voice. I see. Come down to the canteen later and have a bite. Really? Really? And what are they made of? What? I asked indifferently. Those cakes. Thanks for the host sponge as well. Perfect sleepy time stream, I guess. Well, some flour, some sugar, various fillings. Now that's a strange question. Doesn't she know what cakes are made of? And you have it all here? Yeah, sort of. And sugar. And sugar. Could you lend me a little? What for? I thought it was over the top. A sudden gust of wind made me grab the cart instinctively and open my eyes. However, nobody was there. Am I daydreaming? I noticed, though, that the sugar sack was untied and a deep heap of it had poured out. Could it be that she was scared by the wind and ran away? Having fixed the sack, I got up from the bench and continued on my challenging strawberry way. There wasn't a single person near the canteen. No wonder, dinner was still an hour away. I brought the hand cord to a rear exit and handed the foodstuffs to the camp cook. She must have already been told what to do with them, as she gave me such an unpleasant look. I'm not sure how long it takes to bake a cake, but it seems she had to hurry. I just wanted to relax for the remaining time up until dinner. In short, I was so tired that I just sat on the steps and waited. My eyes closed themselves. I guess I got so tired throughout the day that I didn't even notice how someone came up to me until they patted me on the shoulder. Hi. Mika was standing before me. Yeah, I didn't need a mirror to imagine the expression of skepticism and annoyance on my face. Oh, excuse me, I must have interrupted you. No problem, I was just sitting here. Oh, alright then. Mika beamed, with a smile. I was just coming to dinner. I thought that it's time already, then it appeared to be that it's too early. But I decided to check just in case. Maybe it's not me who's mistaken, but the clock is. Well, not the clock. Clocks can't be mistaken, but just what I misread it. She seemed to be ultimately confused now and fell silent. It was still about half an hour before dinner. Oh, that's great, then I'll sit here and wait with you if you don't mind. Frankly speaking, I do mind. You know, I have some matters to attend to. I stood up quickly and left without saying goodbye, ignoring Miku as I always did, while she screamed something after me. A minute later, I got to the square and sat on the bench with the firm intention of finding a quiet and safe place where to wait for dinner. I think this is the first time in the last 4.5 days when I felt like this. I wasn't just irritated because of some insignificant details, but indeed, I was really angry. No, that's not Vocaloid game. Hey gamer, Pioneer. I think they ripped off Miku from the Vocaloid games. It's pretty much the same exact character, but now it's a pioneer, like all the other girls. I've completely stopped caring about where I am and why am I here. I don't care about how to get out either. What's driving me mad is that I always have to carry out some stupid task given by our camp leader, and it's always me who gets into stupid situations and sometimes even ends up looking like a clown. If all of this is some alien trick or a plot of the universe, the universal mind, they better consult with their psychiatrist. I gritted my teeth and clenched my fist. And most annoying thing is that everything that happens seems to happen by itself somehow. I'd be happier not having to carry around bags of sugar that weigh a ton, but I had no choice at all. I mean, any other option would lead to much worse consequences than a muscle strain or hurt Pete right. I mean, I don't know. You could have always refused. Who are you angry with? Ilyana was standing in front of me and smiled slyly. Nobody really, I answered absently, but my fist gave me away. Just like that. Okay, it's up to you. You better tell me, why did you run around the camp the whole day with some kind of bags? I had to, I replied reluctantly. I guess it was food. Maybe it was. Ilyana was about to say something, but at the moment the bell rang, calling the pioneers for dinner. I sighed in relief and quickly headed to the canteen, leaving Ilyana behind. Semyon, thank you very much. For what? The camp leader gave me a friendly smile. For the cake, of course. Ah, sure. It was at that exact moment that I understood the true meaning of the saying, keep your thanks to feed your cat. You didn't tell anybody. This ought to be a surprise. Yeah, that's my boy. Little Gremlin, Advanced Level 3. That's my boy, yeah. And now off you go to dinner. Olga Dmitrievna waved her hand, pointing at the canteen. I stepped through the doorway slowly and started to look for a free space. I turned out there were plenty today, so I got the chance to eat all alone. There was fish with mashed potatoes for dinner. What misfortune once again. I'll be left half hungry. And didn't we have fish for lunch? Is it a fish only day today? That's great. Let's just save. I mean, whatever. Having pushed my plates with the fried sea dweller away, I laid my head on my hands and closed my eyes. But soon somebody came up to the table. Hey, are you alright? I'm fine, I replied without changing my position. Just tired? Yeah, a little. That's bad. Slavia said it seriously. Of course, you remember that we were going for the hike after the dinner, don't you? Have you prepared anything? Have you prepared everything? What? Where? I opened my eyes and lifted my head up instantly. Lena was standing by Slavia. The hike. She was surprised. Didn't you know? No. I put my head down on the table and covered it with my hand. If only I could sink into the ground right now. The girls remained silent. I was left alone with my thoughts for some time, and that was fine by me. Maybe I could have sat that way until the end of dinner time, but that strong voice of Olga Dmitrievna was heard. The strong voice of Olga Dmitrievna was heard from the opposite end of the canteen. Guys, to celebrate the miraculous rescue of our friend and comrade Shurik, we baked this cake for you all. I lifted my head idly and looked towards the camp leader, but couldn't see anything beyond the pioneer's back. A second, just a second. And nothing about me. Nothing about me rescuing Shurik or gathering the ingredients for the cake. As if that's how it ought to be. Well, I would be wrong to expect anything else from our camp leader. Let's go. Or we won't get our share. Slavia smiled. Let's go. Lena agreed. Yeah, sure. I got up reluctantly and tagged along behind the girls. As we approached the crowd of pioneers, Olga Dmitrievna was just putting the cake in the center of the table. And now, camp leader wasn't able to finish as Liliana rushed out from the pioneer crowd and dived into the cake. She managed to nibble it a few times before she was pulled away. She was kicking and screaming. I stared blankly from the outside at all this drama. Elisa smiling. Lena picking up some cream with her finger, all the furious pioneers around. I felt completely out of place there. I thought that if I closed my eyes now and opened them again, here I am, back to the safety of my apartment in front of my computer. Hey Mr. Tao. Visual novels, that's what's going on there. I blinked but nothing happened. Nothing changed. Only the noise and the confusion became sharper. Uliana, that's the limit. Well, in fact, behaving like this is a bit over the top even for her. Shurik broke into the conversation. Or is it a court-martial? Please, Olga Dmitrievna, since the cake is celebrating my return, it's no big deal. He hesitated. It doesn't matter. The camp leader turned to Uliana. And you. Today I'm going to punish you to the fullest extent, so you'll behave next time. Whatever. She snorted and turned back. You won't be going to the hike with us tonight. As if I wanted to. I was more than willing to switch places with Uliana and skip the hike instead of her, but who knew? If I had have guessed beforehand, I'd have been the first one to go berserk and smash the damn cake. No, I'm not gonna make girl voices. Hey, Pro-Gamer. After a couple of minutes of confusion, the pioneers started to disperse. You have to get ready too. There'll be a lineup at the square in half an hour. I looked straight into the eyes of the camp leader, trying to express my attitude non-verbally, but it seemed that I failed. Don't be late. Liliana was sitting at the table when I approached her on my way to the exit. So why did you do it? She looked very upset, but she had a right to be so. I wanted to. Hey, Shadow Wolf. Liliana pried the So, you're happy now? Of course I am. And you, good luck with the hiking. She smiled mischievously, sprang up, and rushed out of the canteen. I don't know. It's kind of tiring to read this because you need to be pretty much constantly talking. Yeah. Because I want to read it all. I don't want to be... I want to read it aloud. Well, a little bit of luck wouldn't hurt. Walk and you shall reach was exactly this proverb. Probably it was exactly this proverb that kept whirling in my head all the way down to the camp's leader's cabin. Somehow I just couldn't manage to argue, to pretend that I'm sick, or to just skip it without a reason. The event of this day taught me submissiveness, although sometimes whatever was happening made no sense to me. As I walked in, I had a thought. Well, in fact, how could I get ready? Clothes. I only have an overcoat and a pair of jeans. Anyways, I forgot to ask whether it's going to be an overnight hike or not. I couldn't think of anything better, so I grabbed the sweater that I had on me when I've arrived in the camp. The night might be chilly, might be fairly chilly, and shuffled slowly off to the square. All the camp was already there, although it was about 10 minutes before the time Olga Dmitrievna had designated. I settled down near the edge and waited patiently. Night was falling. If viewed from the outside, what a fairly comical picture we would make. A crowd of pioneers lined up out of sheer habit, like they were awaiting silent command from the bronze Genda. And all this happening in the scarlet rays of the sunset, and there he is, waving his hand and screaming, "Attack!" as roaring soldiers from red neckerchiefs charge into the battle against some ghostly enemy. But Olga Dmitrievna showed up and started to talk instead of Genda. It seems everybody is here. Great. I was so tired today that I couldn't even think about anything, so I ended up just listening to the camp later. Now, today we'll go hiking. It is essential for every pioneer to be able to come up and rescue his comrade, to offer a helping hand in the hour of need, saving them from a hopeless situation. We have to learn to do all these things together. Yeah, of course, but that's exactly what I've already done, like previous night. A whisper that ran through the pioneer crowd suggested that most probably this truly epic expedition would end in a clearing in the forest, several hundred feet away from the square. Somehow I thought so too. We'll walk in pairs, so if you haven't chosen a partner for yourself yet, now's the right time to do so. Pioneers quickly caught on to the idea and started to match in pairs. It looked like I was the only one without a partner. Slavia was enthusiastically discussing something with Olga Dmitrievna, Lena was with Miku, Electronic was, of course, with Shuri. Well, it might be not a bad idea to go alone after all. Samian. The voice of the camp leader pulled me out of my thoughts. I went up to her reluctantly. I see that you haven't found a partner. Seems like it. Then you'll join Xenia. She is alone too. I was struck with the special kind of despair that only a true loner can experience. So it appears that I'm left with a pricky with a prickly librarian that I wouldn't risk spending a couple of hours with, even if I was paid for it. Although, we both seem to be in the same boat now. I slowly approach Shenna. Well, I guess we'll be going together. She looked up at me. Don't you even think that I'm glad? Said Xenia seriously. Who on earth you should feel glad? Why on earth should you feel glad? I asked naively. Never mind. That's a good answer though. Hey cows. It would be much better if you just shut up. Yeah, I couldn't even... I wouldn't get any better than this. She turned her back on me and followed the other pioneers. Still haven't seen such special reasons to walk in Paris. No special reasons though. Anyway, we were walking on the well-trodden forest trails and it would be quite difficult to get lost there, even if I wanted to. Moreover, while we'd already been hiking for half an hour, we weren't rushing into the depths of the forest, trying to face all the dangers that could test our courage and harden our pioneer spirits, but instead we're just walking around in circles. However, if we take into account that Olga Dmitrievna was our chef, this hike could be compared to a hobbit's march from the Shire to Mordor. Just as Sanya insisted, I was following her at a distance in silence. The librarian seemed to be perfectly okay with this. Hey, don't you know when we'll reach our destination? Or what? Talesville Advanced Level 1. You will? Ahem, the place where we'll settle down and set up camp. The whole point of this hike isn't to set up a camp, but the hiking itself. You don't get it. Yeah, it seemed that I didn't understand a thing about hiking. I guess you're right, but still. I don't know. She replied sharply and quickened her pace. I caught up with her and asked, Listen, why are you always so... I was about to say mean, but stopped short. I haven't done anything bad to you, and I'm not going to. She glared at me in surprise. Always so what? Well, unsociable, kind of. No, I did not tell you to shut up. Is it something about me? Oh, cut that stupidity out already. I'm just reading the text here and... it's fine. As you wish. I decided not to start a conversation with her for the rest of the hike. ... That's a nice shot. If you're playing the drinking game, you have to drink. I'm gonna be right back. Give me a second. Okay, I'm back. That's not the end. Hello, Bruno Wars. This is pretty much the same visual novel that I was streaming earlier. At least Olga Dermitivna decided to end up this Sisyphean toil. Or at last. It's time to halt. The place chosen turned out to be a quite large glade with a few tree trunks laid in half circle to make an improvised arbor with the remains of a campfire in the middle. Hey Ariaxis. Yeah, camel raid, a bit late though. But it's fine. Obviously, such hikes are a tradition of this camp. I was sent to Greater Firewood together with the other boys. I'm basically only playing this game because Salan Sawar, he told me to play this game and stream this game, or visual novel, I don't know. But I don't know. I am not Russian. I am Dutch. I mean, you guys are the worst stalkers. It's right in the description. I was sent to gather firewood together with the other boys. It didn't take long because there were a lot of branches and logs of various sizes laying around. Eventually, Olga Dmitrievna lit the fire using some old newspapers. I was eager to know what was written there, but couldn't discern anything other than Soviet symbols. Exactly, like I would really like to know what was in the newspapers if I didn't know where it was. Pioneers took their places on the fallen log benches and started to talk about things. It seems that the final goal of this event has been achieved. The only thing missing were a pot of fish soup, aluminium cups of vodka and a guitar, but it wouldn't be surprised if all of these would appear somehow. What are you thinking about? You like the chill reading? That's cool. Like, I usually don't stream this and it's kinda, I don't know, it's kinda difficult to do so because I know a lot of followers might not be interested in it, but yeah. Slavia sat next to me. Like, at some point I wanna finish it. I would feel better if I read the whole thing, or at least get one of the endings. Oh, nothing special. Just enjoying the hike, I answered sarcastically. You don't look too happy. Well, I'm not about to jump for joy, sorry about that. Okay, I won't disturb you. She sat with me for a while, but after realizing that I wasn't in the mood of talking, she left me to enjoy my introspection all alone. I'm not gonna do any speedruns for this visual novels. Like, you don't speedrun reading books. That's not a thing. And now and all I wished for was to lie down in bed and fall asleep as soon as possible, but I was being surrounded by smoke and the useless chatter of pioneers around me instead. They were cheering and laughing and in general enjoying his warm summer evening. In the far side of the glade I noticed that Nina was arguing with Elisa intensely, and Lena seemed like complete opposites to me. Slavia had left to go somewhere after our conversation, it seemed. Electronic and Shurik were trying furiously to prove something to Olga and Mitrina. Looks like I'm the only one who doesn't belong here. Wait, I could try to find out what they were trying to argue about. Or... I think it's better to just do nothing. All I was doing was just watching the fire, you know. There is a saying that claims that one could catch it forever as well as running water. But there was also some third thing here. What was that? I don't think it's too good to be over curious. One could watch 3 things forever: burning fire, running water, and how other people work. Camp leader pulled me out of my daydreaming. Semyon, don't you think that it's too early to relax? What else would I need to do? I honestly couldn't get what Olga Dmitrievna wanted from me. I don't know. She stopped for a moment. But if there is something to be done, then do it without hesitation. She smiled ambiguously and went back to the fire to throw a few branches on. After those words, I am completely sure that she treats me like a personal slave. I'm pretty sure that's not what she meant. Or at least like, I'm a free labor force, which is strictly speaking the same thing. I sighed and put my hand down on my hands. Head down on my hands, hoping my torments would be over for today. Somebody patted me on the shoulder. I looked up and saw Shuriken Electronic, who sat next to me. What do you want? I asked tiredly. Don't be sad. Is there anything better to do? Look, we've been discussing the possibilities of the advancement of the Cybernetics Club with Olga Dmitrievna. And there is a problem, we need more guys. If you could... He hesitated. Advancement and those guys are incompatible with each other. I said nothing and started to look over the pioneers around me instead. Well, I don't have time. Can't you see that I'm always busy with the camp leader's errands? Well, I guess you're right. It's kind of embarrassing how it all went today with Ilyana. I looked at him with surprise. It seems that Shurik blames himself for that kick accident. Yeah, it is. All the pioneers seem to be here, but I couldn't spot Slavia anywhere. See a cow. I think she's angry with me. I don't know what he's talking about, whether it's the wire or the cake. Who? I asked absently. Ilyana. Maybe I should apologize. No, it's not your fault. We sat silently for a while and then stood up and said, my legs are numb, I better take a walk. They made no reply. I made a few circles around our improvised camp, noticing the close looks of the camp leader following me. Looks like Olga Dmitrievna couldn't wait to come up with some kind of new task for me. Haven't found Slavia anywhere. Maybe I should go and try to find her. On the other hand, I felt sorry for Ilyana every time I recalled her upset face. Maybe this hike isn't the most entertaining thing ever, but sitting there all alone isn't any better either. But at the same time, I didn't want to go anywhere. Remain seated or go to Ilyana. Or go find Slavia. Let's go with Ilyana. But on the other hand, why would I care about that witch? I guess that's enough for me for today. I sat in my previous place and waited for the end of the hike patiently, almost physically able to feel the looks the camp leader aimed at me. At least she stood up and declared, and now let's play cities. Slavia? Well, rip. too late. I had nothing against the game itself. This is so odd though, like, why would I choose any of the options? Like, I chose Liliana and it just didn't do anything. But it was obviously that the hike will take longer because of it. Pioneer sat around the fire. I noticed Lena and Alisa, who took their places on a trunk opposite me. It seems that everything is alright. Just a few minutes ago, I thought the opposite while looking at their corral, but anything is possible. I'd really like to know what they were talking about, but it's impossible now, and I could feel tiredness growing in me more and more. My mind was completely blank. To be precise, my head was so heavy that there was no place in it for ideals to unfold. While in my better times, my brain appeared to be a wide highway with millions of thoughts running by, chasing one another and causing major crashes. Crashes. Now, it was more like a footpath lost in the woods, like is used rarely and only in exceptional cases. Slavia didn't come back. Maybe she had something to do, but once again there's no way to find out now. Gamer Pioneer Advanced Level 1. Okay, let's start. Moscow. Pioneer started to name cities. Finally it was my turn. I tried to listen closely to catch the first letters of the city I'll have to use. Arkan. Whatever. We played several rounds. Each new city name made it harder to remember everything that was mentioned before. My attention was dissipating and I was already lost in all these capitals, megalopolises, villages and urban settlements. Salmon, it's your turn. Ogre Mitivla brought me back to reality. Oh, excuse me, what was the last one? You're daydreaming again. It was Sevastopol. Okay, then I'll say London. Already used. Well then. It got me thinking. There were tons of cities in the world, starting with the L, but it was hard to remember even one of them now. Liverpool? Already there. Los Angeles? Ah, finally. She gave me a scornful look, but the game went on. I could hardly bear to think of another city starting with L, but fortunately it was the last round. I would assume that if you guessed wrong that you would be out of the game, but I don't know. This way there's just no winning and there's also no point, because there's nothing to gain. Okay, that's enough for today, it's already late. Time to go back. I sighed with relief. On our way back we walked as we liked, without joining in pairs. Night descended upon the camp, a perfectly regular and normal night. It was one of those nights when dark skies, stars and even crescent moon don't cause any special feelings, and the chirping and cricketing and the songs of the night birds seem more like routine work noises than a nocturnal chorus. Dot dot dot. In a few minutes, all the pioneers were lining up in the square. It was quite late already, and fatigue took its toll on our lineup. So our lineup wasn't completely aligned. It looked to me more like a line of Vikings after a successful battle where the warriors are happy and smiling, anticipating their return to their families rather than thinking about maintaining correct formation. But someone else could possibly see a completely defeated troop or a bunch of survivors who have to march to their homeland with the loss of their strength. Thanks everyone, and now go to sleep, it's late already. Pioneers quickly each ran their own ways, and I was left together with the camp leader. And we should go too. We went in complete silence to Olga Dmitrievna's cabin. Okay, let's sleep, she said, turning off the light. I was tossing and turning for quite a while, recalling all the events of the day. On the one hand, I was overcome with fatigue. On the other hand, I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd forgotten something, done something wrong, said something wrong. And this feeling of incompleteness was tormenting me. It was about 2 a.m. All bad things would end sooner or later, or at least would take a break. I fell asleep. Day 6. Well, yeah. Since the beginning of the visual novel, this Semyon has to sleep at the same cabin as the camp leader, because that's the only one that has one bed left. Day 6. I don't know what time it was when Olga Dmitrievna woke me up, but even before opening my eyes I felt the imminence of death. My whole body ached, I felt dizzy, my mind was clouded by haze. Semyon, wake up immediately or you'll miss breakfast and, more importantly, the lineup. Looks like the camp leader intends to exploit me to the fullest today, the same as any other day. I garbled something, covered my head with the blanket and turned to the wall. In the end, Olga Dmitrievna's anger will never go beyond words. At least, I really wanted to believe so then. Stand up right now, or what? I was going to say triumphantly, but kept silent. Not because of fear, just because I felt too lazy to open my mouth. Really, what could she do to me? Lecture me at the lineup, hang my photo on the wall of shame, or use me for inhuman alien experiments? Well, I'm ready for that too, just let me sleep for a couple of hours. Okay, but if you missed the lineup... The door slammed behind the camp leader, and the sleep which had been about to fade claimed my mind again. Dot dot dot. I woke up dazzled by sunlight. It was 1 p.m. according to my cell phone, which was sneezing the last drops of charge out of its battery. Strangely enough, my body didn't ache, my head felt clearer, and all in all, it was a good beginning to the day. After waving my arms, pretending to do early exercises, I sprang out of the cabin and headed to the washstand. Yeah, I slept through breakfast, but we'll be served dinner soon, so I shouldn't worry that I'll have to stay hungry like I did yesterday. Along the way I met a pioneer whose face somehow looked strangely familiar. But I was going so fast I couldn't really see him, and when I turned around he was already gone around the corner. There was nobody near the washstand. Everyone is probably puzzy with Olga Dmitrievna's task, and God knows what else. I quickly brushed my teeth, washed my face, and was already going to leave when I suddenly heard the sound of water flowing from the opposite tap. A A pioneer leaned against a washstand over there. I couldn't see his face, but judging from his figure, he looked like the same I saw a couple minutes ago. How are you doing? The sun's so bright today. I looked up into the sky, wheeling my eyes with my palm. Yeah, nothing special. It wasn't easy to get a better look at the pioneer, given the way he stood, the bright sunlight that reflected from the water and shiny metal surfaces of the washstand heavily obscured his face, and I wasn't able to distinguish any single feature. Hello, EMP. The camp leader is angry today, so angry. His voice sounded painfully familiar too. Well, she's always like that. Well, you'd know better, yeah. I tried to remember if I ever heard this voice or seen this pioneer before. Well, see ya. He turned the water off and quickly marched towards the forest path. I mean, if the camp leader was angry, I would at least ask why. For a second I thought of following him, stopping him, but I quickly fought it off as I decided that it's not worth spoiling such a great morning with suspicions and burdensome speculations. Except that the morning was already over. Nature was glowing with the bright light of life. Lush treetops were Lush treetops were rhythmically swaying in the wind, whispering to each other. The breeze gently stroked the high emerald grass. Birds were cooing in the shades, escaping the midday heat. The woods and fields, stretching beneath the horizon, were dissolving in warm sunlight. So many words. I don't know which month it is now that it looks like midsummer. I distinctly remember the summer vacation in my childhood and youth, times of fun leisures and carefree joy. Childhood games, how many there were. I wouldn't say no to playing war games or hide and seek now, or swinging on a bungee, or maybe building a sandcastle and inhabiting it with toy soldiers, ready to defend their master to the last drop of their plastic blood. ... I went to the square and sat on the bench waiting for lunch. It looked like there wasn't much time left before it. From time to time pioneers passed by me, sometimes alone, sometimes in pairs or groups of three, but always someone I didn't know. Elisa, Liana, Lena or Slavia were nowhere to be seen. Thoughts about the meaninglessness of existence were circling in my brain, but this didn't worry me on such a beautiful day. Just think about it. Who could think of grieving for his life lived in vain, or lost early while basking in the rays of such a friendly sun? Certainly not me. I looked upon Genda. He was meditating, as always. No, he definitely never gets any unnecessary thoughts or doubts. I remembered my first hours in this camp and the day before, the anguish, the anxiety and fear. That all seems so far away now, although so little time has passed. Will I get out of here or not? It didn't concern me as much as before. Maybe I am already dead. Then this is the last stop. Please get off the train. What are you thinking about? I looked up and saw that pioneer I'd seen before. I couldn't see his face again, as the sun was shining in my eyes. You know life. It It seemed he would sit down next to me, but the pioneer stayed in the same place, only half turned, which completely killed any hope of seeing his face. Listen, have we met earlier? I don't think I remember you. Well, let's say that you know who I am. But I don't. I laughed sincerely. Here you don't. He answered short. I see. Honestly, it's not like I didn't want to talk. I just didn't know what to talk about. And my soul was so calm. This didn't bother me. Your first time here? He asked the question, but his tone implied he was only expecting a confirmation. Yes, and you. Me. He paused for a few seconds. Nah, it's not my first time here. One might say that I've visited this camp every year since my early childhood. Such an answer got me interested. Well, and what was it like before? It's always the same. Ogre Dimitrivna being the camp leader, all the same pioneers around, all the same lineups all at the morning, and all these wicked accidents. For a moment I thought that it was me speaking, not him. Interesting. It's just that with every new, he hesitated, year, more and more interesting things happen and one gets to understand better what's going on. What are you talking about? This conversation positively triggered me curiosity. My curiosity. It's a pity that I can't distinguish the face from this pioneer as all. Well, every session in the pioneer camp reminds of the previous one, he said calmly. Probably. This is my first. It shows. The pioneer grinned. But it looks like it won't be the last. Well, it's fun here and all, but you know how they say there's no place like home, but you still have to get back there. Now, I was absolutely sure that this guy was hiding something from me. To be precise, he stood out too much from the camp's usual ordinarities. The usual ordinariness that was too different from the local inhabitants. What do you mean? You think I'm stuck here forever or something? I said, enunciating every word. The pioneer had no time to answer as the lunch bell sounded. I turned my head towards the loudspeaker, and by the time I looked back, the guy was already gone. Well, rest in peace. Thousands of theories and speculation instantly appeared in my head, but I stopped myself remembering all the apparent normalities of this camp. After all, nothing supernatural has happened in these 5 days. Maybe. Debatable. Moreover, everything here seemed too natural. Sometimes even boring. Maybe this pioneer didn't mean anything by that, and I just misunderstood him. Thinking that, I went to the canteen intending to feast. Sometimes it seemed to me that lunch here is akin to the crowds around the soup kitchen during a famine. Whatever that is. Pioneers were running around, pushing each other, trying to crawl through for the first meal and take the most comfortable table. Well, you don't need to sit on tables, so they need to be comfortable. I was calmly standing and patiently waiting for the cook to get me my assigned food rations. For lunch today we had okroshka, which I don't really like, and cutlets and cutlets with potatoes. It's traditional Russian cold soup. Well, rip. I sat in the corner and mentally rejoiced that I will be able to eat in peace. My table was the farthest from the kitchen. I could reasonably hope that the pioneers who were looking for a free place wouldn't reach it. Or would reach it last. However, when I moved on to the main course, Slavia, Shurik and Electronic appeared from the crowd. Can we? I had nothing against their company, of course. Lunch was going surprisingly calmly. Even Electronic wasn't jabbering as he usually does. I finally finished the meal, sprawled in my chair, satisfied, clicking my tongue. Listen, do you know this pioneer? I saw him today. You know, he's so... I suddenly realized that I don't really know how to describe him. Well, about my height, same constitution. Hard to say from such a description. Slavia smiled. Well, we have half a camp of such guys, if it comes to that. All in all, they were right. Why are you asking? It's just that I met him today, and it seemed like I haven't seen him here before. Look in the canteen. I don't think he'll miss lunch. Why didn't I think of that? That's it. Okay guys, enjoy your meal. I got up and started to slowly walk along the rows of tables. Lena and Xenia were sitting over there. I gave them a friendly smile. Elisa and Ilyana were laughing and arguing about something. Olga Dmitrievna surrounded by pioneers. Good thing she didn't notice me. There are hardly any free seats, but the guy from this morning is nowhere to be seen. The situation is getting more and more interesting. Looks like I won't find him here. Maybe he already had lunch. I headed to the exit. It was so hot outside that it seemed like you would instantly melt after coming out of the shade. Slavia A+++++. I suddenly felt like sleeping. I yawned and headed to the camp leader cabin in order to follow the domestic interpretation of the Archimedes principle. In the end, Olga Dmitrievna is unlikely to return anytime soon, at least I think so, and I will definitely have a couple of hours to rest. Anyways, I really don't expect any other options to arise, especially in this heat. The heavenly coolness in the cabin became my salvation. I took my clothes off and jumped onto bed. Crickets were lazily chirping outside, the wind was shaking, the curtains on the windows, and I sank into a dream. Dotted out. Knocking on the door woke me up. The knocks were soft but insistent. I reluctantly got up and went to open it. Strangely, there was nobody on the doorstep. I rubbed my eyes and stepped out to look around. All the same, no one around. A dream, maybe. It was already 4 o'clock. I felt jaded. I probably shouldn't have slept in the afternoon. Little Gremlin advanced level 4. After all, I knew what was going to happen. Put on my boots, left the cabin and locked the door. Did he put on his clothes though? Like even when he opened the door, did he put on his clothes? Probably. Maybe. But where shall I go? All in all, there is not much time till dinner. Sudden thought came to me that it would be nice to refresh myself, so I went towards the beach. The sun was past the midday mark a while ago. It gets dark early here in the south. I squinted and looked up at the flaming disk. Who was that just now? I flinched. The same mysterious guy was standing in front of me, and once again his face was hard to see due to the bright light. For a moment the sun blinded me so I could not see anything besides the faint contours of objects. Are you stalking me? Nope, I'm just passing by, he answered calmly. Then you should know better. So you haven't seen anyone correctly. I rubbed my eyes, but it did not help. Why didn't I see you at lunch? I asked bluntly. I wasn't hungry. He laughed. I blinked a few times and my vision came back, but the pioneer had miraculously disappeared once again. What the hell is going on here? Now, I was absolutely sure that there was something strange about that guy. He must be directly related to everything happening around here. I will have to find out. But for starters, it's good to confirm that I'm not mistaken and that he is not just a local pioneer. It was quite crowded at the beach. It looked like everyone from the camp was here. Well, no wonder it's so hot outside. Olga Dmitrievna was standing just a bit further apart from everyone, keeping an eye on her army of pioneers. As soon as I thought that coming here might not have been the best idea, she noticed me. Hey, Semyon. You weren't at the lineup, and in general, you are just lounging around all day. I did not know how to answer. And just how are you planning to become a proper pioneer? She continued more softly. Olga Dmitrievna in the camp. Is there a pioneer who looks a lot like me? She looked surprised. Maybe, I don't know. Why do you ask? Hey, Dragonfish. Or, I am just curious. Well, we have a lot of boys here. Alright, never mind. Someone's yell came from the river side and Olga Dmitrievna rushed in its direction. Is this a train? Well, it looks like it will be spared a lecture. I will be spared a lecture. If that's a train, then you should get out of this place. I don't know. I lowered myself onto the sand and stared at the pioneers playing in the water. After a few minutes of sitting here, Ilyana approached me. Why so sad? I'm not sad. Well, why you're here sitting all alone? Just thinking. About what? I decided to spare her my story about the mysterious pioneer. Well, imagine that you are chatting with a weird person, and you have to figure out what exactly is so weird about them. Simple, I would just ask them. She laughed. Too simple, but he won't answer. How do you know? Have you tried asking? No, but it's obvious. Ilyana did not answer, just sat down next to me and let out a tired sigh. Yeah, sometimes this character is just overthinking. I'm all swimmed out. And what if they know something, but you won't tell? They won't tell you. Make them. But how? For a bit longer we sat together talking about random things. And then I got up, said goodbye and went away. It's time to find the mysterious stranger and get all the answers. First place to visit was the bus stop. After all, this is where it all began. The road was empty as always. Only small dust tornadoes were occasionally visible on it. Rip music as well. I was ready to turn around and go back to the camp, but then I heard someone whisper, "Don't trust him." Someone's hiding behind the monument. A pioneer was sitting here with his back to me, and once again the voice seemed strangely familiar. "Who are you?" I took a few steps towards him. "Stop, don't come any closer." For some reason I froze in my attack. From somewhere deep inside, an assurance came to me, and I understood that I shouldn't argue with him. "Alright, I'll stay here." "Have you seen him? Talk to him?" he asked nervously. "Who are you even talking about?" He was dressed in a pioneer uniform. "You know who?" And I definitely did know. He was talking about the weird pioneer I saw earlier. "Yes," I answered after a few moments of silence. "What did he tell you?" the pioneer asked in a pleading tone. "Nothing really." "Did he give you advice? Did he tell you what to do, threaten you?" "No, nothing like that. Of course he seemed pretty weird, but nothing more than that. Remember he may not be alone, or more likely he is alone, but you may meet many pioneers here who look like him. And what about you? Who are you? Who are you hiding from? You will understand in time. Just remember, the most important thing is to find the exit." All of a sudden a strong gust of wind came through, ripping leaves from the trees and throwing an old paper bag into my face. Shielding myself, I averted my eyes. When I looked back at the monument, the pioneer was already gone. At that moment, I was overwhelmed by fear. Real, almost tangible fear. I remember being scared during my first hours of this camp, but back then everything around me seemed kind and friendly. Now Sovyanok revealed its fangs, getting ready to eat me. Then I head to the unknown. My body was covered in goosebumps, my throat was dry and my hands were shaking. I tried to ignore it all and headed back to the camp. It was already dinner time and I had no desire to go to the canteen. After meeting the second mysterious pioneer, just thinking about the locals made me, if not afraid, then at least creeped out. I don't even know who or what they all are, and even though nothing had happened yet, it does not mean I can trust them. I stopped in front of the clubhouse and then realized that this is not the best spot to be at. I could run into someone, which was not something I wanted to do at the moment. Almost running, I hurried towards the forest and walked a few meters along the path before finally stopping. On one side, the mysterious pioneer, well, two of them to be precise. On the other, all the other inhabitants of this camp who seemed absolutely normal. Either way, my decision to stand back and let everything resolve itself was under some serious pressure. At this point it was clear to me I had to do something on my own. But what exactly? Everyone is probably having dinner, so I have a good chance to make it to Olga Dmitrievna's place without being noticed. I decided to take my clothes that I wore when I arrived here along with my cell phone. I wouldn't be able to come up with a solid plan right now off the bat, so for the time being I might as well hide in the forest. Is this even allowed? course it is. Hey Megas Mirza. I leaped up the steps and entered the building. My clothes were right where I left them, and my phone was where I was supposed to be, under my pillow. I quickly grabbed it and was ready to stuff it into my pocket, but then I noticed something on the screen. The message window was open. The text read, "You're wrong, Simon. You are so wrong." It felt like my soul had left my body. I froze on the spot. I was shaken and my blood was pumping so hard. It felt like my skull was going to burst open from the pressure. It took me at least a full minute for me to come back to senses. Olga Dmitrievna could have typed in the message, or one of the pioneers. It's easy to figure out how to do it, even if they are not familiar with this technology. But no one besides me should know where I keep my phone. This event was the straw that broke the camel's back. I rushed out of the house, determined never to come back here. ... That's a shot again if you're playing the drinking game. 4:04 PM not found. Night fell on the campgrounds. I'm not even sure, like, what is even going on here? Why? Why, Salmon, why? Why are you acting so weird? I've been sitting in the woods for a few hours, trembling at every noise. The spot that I chose was far away from the path, so it would be hard to find me. I was keeping a few plans in my head for the time being, to try and run to kill every single person in the camp. However, on the other hand, one thought chased me and I realized that I shouldn't behave like this because of some strange pioneer, or even because of that message on my phone. All of this was reinforcing the thought that everything happened here was far from normal. However, there was no proof that anyone in the camp had anything to do with it. So also, less than a day ago, the battery from the mobile phone was already dead, so I don't know, it makes no sense that there even would be messages. That's just plain awful. You know, I could have stayed here until morning, lost in my own thoughts, but I heard footsteps coming from somewhere nearby. So you decided to escape after all. I turned around, but didn't see the pioneer's face in the dark. Nevertheless, I was pretty sure that it was him. I wasn't afraid then. More precisely, I was so physically exhausted that I was prepared for any possible cause of events, and somehow managed to reason appropriately and to maintain the conversation. I wouldn't call this an escape, I answered slowly, stretching every word. Huh, then what is it? A tactical retreat. Brilliant. He burst into laughter. Listen, why don't you tell me what's going on, who you are, and what you want from me? What did that guy tell you at the gate? It seemed that he didn't even hear my question. He told me to not trust you. I lied. But on the other hand, I thought that it was what he meant. Well, that's always the way for him, running away, hiding. I could hear irritation in his voice. I'm not sure what kind of circus you're running here, but I'm not going to be part of it. Oh, why not? You're the star after all. I couldn't see his face, but I bet he was smiling. Explain my part to me then. You know, I was like you in the beginning. First time everything went peacefully. Then I escaped. I tried to understand what was going on. Got mad and even tortured them to get the truth. He laughed crazily. I shivered, but it was pointless. Continued the pioneer after calming down a bit. Pointless. And then I began to notice the lapses. At first, I just heard their voices from a distance and sometimes in my head. Then vaguely silhouettes appeared. Then they slowly took a visible form. And finally they stepped into my world. I could touch them, introduce them to other pioneers. And they all were different. Different, do you get it? Different. He started shouting. And it recurred again and again. You can get used to loops, but then I learned how to get into their worlds by themselves. Get to their worlds by myself to interact with the others. But it turned out that I'm not alone. There are lots of us. Today you saw at least one more. He fell silent. I didn't know what question to ask and didn't want to interrupt his story, so I simply waited. After a minute he continued. It's not that simple, of course, and it's not always possible, only under certain circumstances, when you feel strong emotions, for example. I instantly remembered how I saw him for the first time. The time when I didn't feel any emotion at all. Including the moments when you feel happy. As if he was reading my thoughts. I see. So you're trying to say that there are several parallel worlds, including the same camp, with its inhabitants where I am replaced by you, or that guy I met at the bus stop. Yeah, something like that. His answer didn't surprise me at all. In the end, it's clear that whatever happens here is beyond the limit of human understanding, and this theory didn't even seem that unusual. But you said that everything recurs. Yes, it recurs. And what will happen afterwards? You'll start from the very beginning. You'll wake in the bus, come to the camp, meet Olga Gramitovna, the girls. Electronic. But if it happened to you, then why should it happen to me as well? It happens to everyone. Once again he laughed hysterically. And how many loops have you experienced so far? I stopped counting them already. At first I tried to remember them though. Maybe a few hundred. And I wonder, it was very clear to me that this guy was suffering from a progressing mental dysfunction. But you searched for a way out, didn't you? He didn't answer. That's what that guy in the bus stop was talking about. Because he understands nothing, damn it. He shouted. Because he's just like you, constantly running away, hiding. What would you suggest then? If I had any questions, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you. Alright, but you were trying, weren't you? Are you trying to understand what I know, since I've been standing here for a long time? He asked cheerfully. Well, that's evident. Yes, I did try to run away from here. There. He waved towards the forest. There's nothing there. Nothing but trees. When I had been walking there for several days and finally passed out, I found myself in the bus again. Same for walking along the road, it's pointless. Talking to somebody about that is pointless. You probably already understood that by yourself. I did. I interjected. Even if you try to explain your situation directly, at best you'd just be considered an idiot. I'm scared. What if you try to not leave the bus? It's pointless. Sooner or later you'll be found. I even tried to spend the entire time there. In the end I fell asleep and everything started from the beginning. And what if you start it by yourself and leave? No keys. And I don't have any carjacking skills. Cursed cycle. Exactly. A long silence fell. Finally I asked, and what about the people around there? Don't they raise absolutely reasonable suspicions? Suspicions? Laughter again. The only thing that is suspicious about them is that no matter how much you tell them, they stare at you with their eyes out of stalks. Out on stalks. The people. I feared them at first too. Then I used them for different experiments. And now I don't consider them humans. They're all dolls, puppets. You can easily predict every reaction, any word or action. So they aren't worth fearing, are they? The one worth fearing is yourself, he said softly. Do you know how funny it is when human bones crack as they slowly break after this tension? Looks like he's finally lost his marbles. Listen, I understand everything, but the other one thinks that's a bit much too. But it doesn't matter, nobody but you is real here. The pioneer suddenly fell silent. Well, no, I don't agree with you. You're probably thinking why I didn't check this out by myself, didn't you? Aren't you? Why I didn't try to reach the nearest village or town. Yes, I did have some thoughts. Why wasn't I suspicious? Why was I doing different stuff instead of searching for answers? Well, yes. Forget about it, that's normal. We all behave like this for the first time here. But how many others have you seen so far? Not that many. The pioneer was lost in thought. About 10 people maybe, but I'm sure there are many more of them. And then, is everyone like us? In fact, yes. Only the details are different, but the main thing is invariable. There is no way out of here. And by the way, you're just like the majority of them. The only thing that differs is that you have heard everything from me instead of experiencing it for yourself. I don't know if I should thank him for that. Well, and what now? Nothing, he said shortly. I closed my eyes and lost myself in thought. That was a critical mistake. When I opened my eyes I didn't see anybody, just like the previous time. So it's clear what's going on now, but in fact, how could everything he said guide me to an answer? Yes, I'm not alone, yes, everything recurs, but what's the reason of all this? And what is more important, where's the way out? The only useful thing that I expected from the conversation was that the local inhabitants were not worth fearing. And that was quite significant to me for now, since it was much better to sleep in a warm cabin instead of the forest. I sighed, took my things and headed back to the camp. Hey Selin. How are you doing, Selin? I picked up some root already? I don't think so. I don't know. As I was walking, the conversation with my fellow sufferer popped up in my mind every now and then. Why did I not ask him about the message on my phone and some other stuff? There were hints after all. Maybe if I had found some details out, I could have drawn some conclusions. However, it didn't seem like our meeting would be the last one. You're bad, very, very bad, but not that bad. I'm gonna be right back. Just give me 1-2 minutes. Okay, I'm back. The lights were on in Olga Dmitrievna's cabin. I opened the door gently and went in. Speak of the devil, here you are, the camp leader said angrily. Olga Dmitrievna, I'm so tired now, so let me put off the lecture. Tired from what, I wondered. From everything? I snapped rudely. Camp leader looked at me with surprise. I fell onto the bed without undressing. Semyon, a role model pioneer, shouldn't behave like that. And how should he behave then? What is jacket? It's like a coat that will cover your upper body for when it's cold. Well, not like that. Camp leader stumbled for a moment, as if struggling to pick the right words. You should respect his seniors. I respect you immensely, for sure. Semyon. The sarcasm in my voice didn't go unnoticed. And now I'd like to sleep. Wait, By the way, how far is the nearest town? When does the bus arrive? How can I even get out of here? I asked, in a surprisingly calm voice. There was no answer, and there shouldn't have been any. I said all this just in order to get rid of her. You're wearing a coat, okay. Why are you silent? I'm tired, let's talk about that tomorrow. The camp leader got up and turned off the light. Yes, it's all just like that guy said. Why did I speak to him so calmly and properly, I wonder? I should have been shivering from horror. The pioneer didn't have much credibility, but I had the feeling that he's unable to harm me. As soon as I thought that it would be a good idea to ask something else, Fatigue overtook me and I passed out. Okay, that was a short day, I think, if that's even a day. Yay. Look at that. It took less than an hour. This is also day 5. This is also day 5. Oh well. The bright sunlight was striking my eyes even through my eyelids. I stretched out lazily and quickly got myself out of bed. It was 2 p.m. Looks like yesterday really finished me off and my body required much more time to recover than usual. I had a stroll around the room, thinking of what I should do today. Obviously my life in the camp would never be the same again after everything that I'd heard from that strange pioneer. And if everything's just as he said, I have plenty of time ahead. I grabbed my hygiene kit and went outside. I managed to take only a couple steps as somebody ran into my back. I turned around and saw Elisa. "Hey, be careful," said she indifferently and ran on her way. She held some kind of bag in her hand. Whatever, yet another ordinary day in this crazy place. I finished brushing my teeth and then spent an eternity washing my face with ice cold water to bring myself to my senses and refresh my head at least a bit. I felt a bit better after that. Suddenly hope struck me from nowhere. It wasn't a hope that I'd be likely to leave this place safely. Rather, I just didn't want to believe that everything is as bad as that guy told me. "Good morning." I heard a faint voice coming from the wood. Somebody stood behind a tree. "Morning. Are you ready? Ready for what?" I looked again and it looked like it was the pioneer from the bus stop yesterday. Indeed, he was prepared for such weirdness. I was prepared for such weirdness today, so I wasn't really surprised and started this conversation quite clear-headed. "You didn't believe him, did you?" "What are you talking about?" "Everything that he said." "Alright, but what is your opinion on what is happening?" Lil should work in my channel. And hey Jotigus, you need to probably refresh because better Twitch TV might be broken or Twitch chat is broken, which is not unusual or uncommon on this website. What is your opinion on what's happening? I'd already distanced myself from the outside world and decided to treat everything happening to me just like a fictional film, not reality. Hopefully, it would give me more room to move around in terms of situational logic analysis. "There is an exit, there has to be," he said excitedly. "I don't know, but I'd like to believe that too. If you'd just... Semyon." I turned around. Slavia was standing right next to me. "How? Who are you talking to?" No one. Just talking to myself. I hardly think it's worth telling her about aliens from parallel worlds. She probably can't even see them anyway. "Have you prepared already? Prepared for another hike?" "No. Today's the last day of the session." "What?" A stupid smile settled on my face. "There Will be a bus this evening. We're leaving. Holy cow. I was ready for even the most incredible of twists, but was this what that mysterious pioneer was talking about? Probably it was. Well, apparently I'll have to go for a second lap and live yet another week in this camp. But this time I know everything. I haven't packed yet. It's not like I have much to pack anyway. Okay. Slavia shifted her gaze. It seemed like she wanted to say something but hesitated. What happened in Sanso's stream? I don't know. I think Sanso had a pretty rough time with his random weapon swap mod. I mean, seriously, it's like 1 hour to ONS or something. Okay, well, see you Dan. Yeah. I had to ask when we're leaving for... I'd had to ask when we're leaving at least. I went to the square with the intention of discovering that. There's got to be someone I know there. Video was glitching because of Twitch. Yeah, I've had a bit of an issue with Twitch as well the last day or so. With chat and videos. Not sure what they're doing. But believe it or not, there was only Ganda waiting for me at the square. Probably all the pioneers are busy with packing. I took a seat on a bench and just stared at the sky. It turns out that today I just have to wait for the departure, pass out on the bus and wake up in this camp again, just like the first day. Everything was drowned in silence. It's exactly that time of summer day when the sun seems stuck in the sky. The birds and crickets have gone for an after lunch doze and the wind is saving its energy to deliver long-awaited coolness to people in the evening. It suddenly crossed my mind that I haven't just missed lunch, but I haven't had any breakfast either. It was ridiculous to search for anything in the canteen. The pioneers had surely cleaned up everything just before the departure. I scratched my head and made my way to Olga Dmitrievna's cabin. You remember the fox from Amazon? Surely there should be something edible in the table's drawer. This fox is also kinda remade. Alexis redid his Twitch emotes to look a little bit better. I don't remember it from Amazon though, but whatever. Someone called for me just as I approached the door. Shurik and Electronic swiftly approached the cabin. Are you already packed up? Already packed up. I entered, imitating him. You haven't quite been yourself the last few days. What makes you say that? How should I know? You'd know better. I mean, why are you so concerned? No reason. A real pioneer always treats a comrade's problem as his own. I cast a skeptical look at him. Thanks for your concern, I'm fine. There actually was half a loaf of stale bread and a piece of smoked sausage in the drawer. I ate everything with deliberate pleasure, washing it down with smelly water that Olga Dmitrievna probably used to water the plants. Just as I finished, someone started knocking on the door. Come in. Ilyana rushed into the room. Oh, it's not... Oh, it's just you, she said disappointedly. And who did you expect to see? A circus complete with bears? Ilyana giggled. Where's Olga Dmitrievna? Don't know. I shrugged. Why not? I don't know because I don't know. What do you want from her anyway? Got to ask something before the departure. Okay, I'll tell her that you were searching for her if I see her. By the way, why aren't you packing up? Like I have much to pack. Well, see ya. She cracked a sly smile and bounded out of the cabin, slamming the door behind her. And still, it's really strange that nobody seems to be puzzled by the sudden departure. And why am I the only one who was not expecting it? Like everyone really cares if I've packed my things up. As well as that, doesn't anyone care that this is the last time we're seeing each other? The words of that guy in the forest yesterday about all the camp's tenants being unreal suddenly sprang into my mind. Well, right now, I'm more ready to believe it than ever. The desk drawer where I found my breakfast contained lots of odds and ends. I grabbed a pencil and a piece of paper, examined them for some time and then slipped them into my pocket, just in case. I had no intention of watching over all the pioneers running around and packing, so I just lay on my bed and didn't even notice how I dazed off. ... If you're playing the drinking game, that's a shot. It was somebody's voice that woke me up. A familiar pioneer was sitting directly opposite, with his back to me. I'd gotten used to him a bit since yesterday, and it even seemed that I stopped fearing him. Hey, why do you always hide your face? Because you shouldn't see it. If you say so. I wasn't in a position to argue. So, what are you going to reveal this time? You already know that it's the last day of the session, don't you? Yep. And you've already spoken with that one? Yeah. So, what did he tell you? Nothing special. He said that there's an exit out of here. The pioneer burst into laughter. Yeah, I believed that too ages ago. And now? And what is now? I have my past, my life back, and he stopped talking for some time. Anyway, it all was a long time ago, so I don't really remember. The future is all the same. Loops, loops, loops. Repetitions of the same story. Where is this now? Well, I hate to say it, but I'm not yet as lost in time as you are. Oh, that's nothing, that'll come with time. He broke into diabolic laughter. There's just one thing I don't understand. What's your reasoning for coming to me? What do you expect to achieve? Me, nothing really. So why did you come then? It's just because you, him, and others like us are the only real people around here. Given everything he said to me already, I just wasn't ready to believe that all the local tenants are just puppets in some kind of hellish stage play. Are you sure that you're right? Right about what? Well, that you're right about everything. I can't be right or wrong. I didn't choose this world, I didn't throw myself into it. I'm just here and you're just here. Listen, I've already got a headache from your philosophing. I was kind of puzzled myself as to why I was so calm talking to this mysterious pioneer. Well, here it is, right in front of me. All the fantasy and devilry. What's happening in this camp? Or that's happening in this camp. Well, here it is, an explanation. At least a partial one for how I got here. Here they are. The answers I've searched for such a long time. On the other hand, my behavior was quite logical. While I couldn't quite explain what was happening, this cuckoo guy just talked and talked, and it's not like his word changed anything. Then, what's the point of listening to him? Oh no, you will soon understand everything yourself. Somebody was knocking at the door. I got up and opened it. It was Slavia on the doorstep. You came to see Olga Dmitrievna? No. Come in then. I was 100% sure that the pioneer had already disappeared. Turns out I was right. Slavia took a seat on the bed, and I snuggled against the wardrobe in the far corner of the room. She was distinctly nervous. Did something happen? Not really, it's just today's the last day. Well, I'm already aware, better late than never. Well, so I thought. I mean, we probably won't see each other ever again. It's a small world, as they say, but maybe you would give me your address to write letters. I would have if I only knew it myself. You know, let's do it the other way around. You give me your address. I'll definitely write to you upon arrival. But why don't you want to give out yours? Well, we were just about to move, so you never know. It's better if I write to you. I tried to put on my cutest smile to make my story seem more credible. Oh, okay, it's fine then. Slavia got up and seemed to be leaving. Hey, wait, what about the address? Let's do it later. An expression of sorrow and disappointment crossed her face. I just shut the door and right then heard the spiteful voice of the pioneer from behind. Okay, Dragonfish, good luck on work. Well, happy now. You've heard the girl. What have I heard her with? What should I have said to her, my dear? Write to my dear granny in the village? Or should I have left her the address of the house that's probably not even built yet? So what? I am not my brother's keeper. It's your world, not mine. I'll manage somehow in my own. The last phrase really made me squirm. You know what? I didn't manage to finish the phrase. Someone was knocking on the door again. Come in. Diana flew into the cabin. Why the rush, milady? I made an excessive showy bow. I'm just... Her eyes darted about cautiously and her cheeks were blushed. Just wanted to say goodbye. There will be time for that anyway. After all, we'll all be going in the same bus. Yeah, you're right. But it's kind of embarrassing in front of everybody. Oh, so there is something that you can be embarrassed by. I laughed. She pouted. I just wanted to tell that you aren't a douche, really. In fact, you're almost a cool guy. Her words astonished me. Well, thanks. You're good to hang out with too. Well, that's that. She rushed outside, slamming the door loudly. Hey, didn't expect that from her, did you? I got nothing to do with that, I told you. It really looks like you knew what she will say. Maybe I did, maybe not. You just came here to mock me. I started to lose my temper. The idea had also crossed to my mind. Then why the hell are you hanging around there? If I ever need a man to comment on my actions, I'll hire a professional psychologist. You think that after all this time, I don't qualify as one? My estimation is that after all the time here, you've completely gone bananas. All psychologists are freaks. Yes, but not all freaks are psychologist. He laughed out loud. A sense of humor, how encouraging. Frankly, your jokes are fairly lame. Who are you laughing at? Yourself. Listen, if you got nothing to do in your own world, go and break that second one. And have you got anything to do in your world? The pioneer sharply countered. You know, I'll find out what to do. I'll pick up my things, leave this camp. And then what? Then what? Like I know. I've never been in such a situation before, believe it or not. It's just that you've forgotten that you won't be able to leave the camp. Yeah, I was right in this matter. Probably. Just because you failed to do so, that doesn't mean that I will fail too. You're the boss. There was a knocking at the door, so quietly I could barely hear it. Them. Who else is it? Hissed I under my breath and shouted, "Come in." But the door didn't open, so I pulled the handle myself. Lena was on the doorstep. It looks like I really scared her. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. You came to see Olga Dimitrov now? No. She sat staring at the ground. So what is it, then? What did Lena want from me? Come in. She came in and hesitated in the middle of the room. Want to take a seat? I pointed at one of the beds. Then I hesitated a bit, but nevertheless took a seat. Did something happen? Not at all, it's just... She threw a quick glance at me but blushed at once and looked away. Here. Lena took something out of her pocket and handed it to me. I was stunned. It was my phone. But where did you get it from? I found it in the forest. Okay, but why do you think it's mine? Some boy told me so. Have you ever seen him before? I don't know. I couldn't see his face, but he was dressed in a pioneer uniform. Hey, Preco. I am not Russian. Everything was clear at once, and don't you wonder what it is? I looked at the screen. There still was some battery left, therefore the cell phone shouldn't just look like a piece of plastic to Lena. I don't know. Some kind of game. Yeah, you're right. I quickly opened Snake in the menu and handed the phone to her. Here you go. A keepsake. Oh. What are you doing? I can't. Lena waved her hands at me. Take it, I have loads of these at home. She resisted a bit more, but finally she took the device. And what do I do with it? Press the keys to move left and right. You've got to eat those pellets and keep from hitting your own tail. Wow, this is interesting. Wow, it's so interesting, she smiled. Thank you, and yet I have nothing for you. It's so embarrassing. I don't need anything, thanks. No, that's not good. She said with a voice that sounded more confident than usual. It's the last day today after all. Yeah, I hope we'll meet again. I think we will. Then I have a present for you. And what is it? Close your eyes. I did so. How do you like Everlasting Summer XD? I'm more than sure that you can't understand me. I did so. And promise that you won't open them until I tell you. Okay. No, you have to promise. Alright, I promise. In a moment I felt a light kiss on my cheek. I was really eager to open my eyes, but I promised. Open. The room was empty. What a girl. The only thing I managed to say. So how does it feel, stud? I heard malicious laughter from a place where Lena had just been sitting. So what's your new way of pranking me, eh? Using the others. Me pranking? God forbid. Indeed. You got a kiss from a sweet girl thanks to me. On the cheek. But anyway, I really wanted to beat him up at that moment. But I wasn't even sure that he's a physical being here. I presume that this prank wasn't your last one. So how do I like the game? If you're asking me that, I think I'm enjoying it. That's just a lot of reading. I don't think I would play it again though, so I'm not that kind of person to play visual novels. But I think it's okay. I said calmer. Who knows, who knows? Isn't it fun? Pioneer laughed hard. Perhaps Professor Mario Ricci laughed like that, anticipating the success of his diabolic plan. You're certainly having fun, but I'm not. Relax, dude. There's almost nothing left, and here you go, your second left. After you do a dozen, then you'll earn a pit stop. Although, you probably won't need me then. You'll figure out everything yourself. It's not like I need you right now either. Oh, what? Ingratitude. Just cut it out. If you'd ever. Just shut up already. No understanding. Shut your damn mouth. I screamed so loud that the walls trembled. The front door suddenly burst open and Alisa came in. Is it just me or has someone gone completely nutty nuts? She asked with fright. Well, you could say so, I answered angrily. Why are you yelling? 'Cause I want to. I've already realized that the accidental arrival of Alisa was either planned by this pioneer or would be commentated on by him in a manner that I'd sooner drive a pair of nails into my ears than have to hear. Have you gone psycho or something? Alisa reclined on the bed in a laid-back manner. What do I owe the honor? I came just for the sake of it, and you're just here screaming. You aren't doing anything just for the sake of it. I've got nothing to do. I've packed my stuff. It's boring. Well. If you think that I came to you because... She threw an angry glance at me and turned away. I really shouldn't have come after that. After what? I haven't said a word. Of course you thought it instead. So, you can read minds now. There's no need to read minds. It's written all over your face. It was hardly possible to read anything on my face beside fatigue and anger. So what have you read there? That's none of your business. Well, it's not like I'm holding you here. Forget it, I'll go wherever I please. Don't boss me around. Okay, stay here then, for God's sake. Anyway, I liked Alisa's company. Was much more than the pioneers. That's not good English anyway. I lay back and closed my eyes. It took Alisa a few minutes to break the silence. You really don't want to tell me anything. For example, today's the last day after all. So you're happy, well. She babbled uncertainly. Everyone's leaving. Good riddance. And that's all? You need something else? Didn't you like it here? Her voice sounded unusual. I've seen better places. Damn, you're so dumb that speaking to you is a complete waste of time. She got up and headed to the exit. Hey, Acolyte. Yeah, good luck to you too. Elisa turned to me. Her face was written with anger. Couldn't you at least have said that you'll miss me? Sure, I will. Wimp. Fuck. The door slammed. She slammed the door loudly. Stupid. Elisa didn't hear my last line, of course. What a wayward chick, huh? As good as you are. And you, in that case. Of course, keep comparing me to yourself, I remarked mischievously. But what's the difference? We're in the same situation. I've just been here a little longer. Well, in fact, a lot longer. And you've already gone completely nuts. No wonder. His hoarse laughter was really pissing me off. Listen, have I already told you that you should be an actor? You'd be a brilliant Hannibal Lecter. Especially since you consider yourself a psychiatrist. I'll think about it. Well, now I must go. Maybe I'll see you again. Get lost. I turned to look at him, but the pioneer had already disappeared. Oh, finally. But nevertheless, why did he come? It might be the case that me, him, and others like us are the only real people around here, but I desperately didn't want to believe that. All his speech seemed like some part of a complex game. Like he's trying to give me one hint after the other, trying to lead me to something, enable me to discover some kind of devious plot. Too bad he's not really successful at that, because I'm out of ideas. ... Oh well. Time dragged on deceitfully, slowly, but it's 5 p.m. already. It's common during a summer if one counts the seconds and minutes. It appears that even a single hour would never end. But if one thinks of anything else, then the whole day flies by quickly. I decided to start packing. They could leave without me. I quickly took all my winter stuff and shoved it into a bag. I was almost about to jump onto the bed again, but the door opened and Olga Dmitrievna came in. Oh, I see you're already packed. That's great, let's go. I got up reluctantly, grabbed my simple luggage and followed her. I really don't care what will happen next. I had long suspected that nothing was up to me in this world, and recent event and had reinforced my complete confidence in this. I might wake up tomorrow in bus number 410, or I might not wake up at all. And that's all, folks. It's just that simple. There's no point in staying here. There's nowhere to run. Basically, my only exit is to leave on the bus with everyone else. Go into the unknown. That's all I'd been doing for the last week, stumbling along a narrow path in pitch black darkness, unsure of where is the beginning and where is the end. We were almost approaching the gates when I heard someone calling my name. Semyon, Semyon. Olga Dmitrievna, excuse me, just a minute. Okay, but make it fast or we'll leave without you. I headed for the bushes that the voice came from. Semyon, Semyon. I waded through the thick greenery and came out onto the forest path. Came out onto a forest path. The voice seemed to be calling from nowhere. One moment it was heard behind a tree, and now it seems to be behind my back. Probably it's one of those aliens from the parallel worlds, but I suspect that I haven't met this exact one before. We don't have much time. I'm listening. I know that you've already been contacted by him and him. Yeah, and I know that you don't. But they've told you. Don't ask me how. Okay. But you must know one thing, the thing I know. There's more than a dozen of us here. In fact, more than 1,000. But a lot of people got out. I tried to digest what he said and phrase the right questions. Then why are you here? I stayed. Why? To help others to find an exit. Wow, how generous. And why should I trust you? You're the third one already. Well, in fact, I'm not even sure that all you aren't just my hallucination. It's not about trust. Then what is it about? It's about the right choice. Consider this camp to be a giant maze. You should take a few right turns to find an exit. Okay, and how do I know which ones are right? Well, you know, come with me. Where to? To the second lap. Hold a sec. That pioneer said that my second lap will start tomorrow. He lied. Speaker raised his voice. He's gone completely crazy and he's trying to destroy all the others. So, if I don't go with you and leave on the bus, then I'll be destroyed, right? I don't know. Then why do you say so? Nobody ever returned after in conversation with him. Listen, why should I trust you? I was definitely on the edge. Well, that pioneer just mocked me and didn't seem to be a real danger. This one clearly spoke about things worth being anxious about. I couldn't decide which one should I trust. This problem is like trying to get a blind man to say whether the light in the room is on or off. You can only guess, just like me. Hurry up, time is running out. Hey, wait a sec. Make a choice, are you coming or not? I don't think we should be following the voice anyway. Like, I don't even know what is the consequences of any of this. So, it is pointless to choose anyway. Obviously there is, or might be a consequence, but who knows what it could be without trying. But yeah. No, you know what? I can't just believe you. Thanks for those, Virgil. You know what? I can't just believe you in a couple of minutes. At least I've known that other guy for a little longer, and his argument seems to be more weighty. You'll be sorry. Those words sounded like they were coming from another world. The voice seemed to disappear. Of course, I couldn't be sure whether my choice is right or wrong. It was a blind guess enforced by a time limit. Nevertheless, whether I'm right or not, we'll find out soon. In a couple of minutes I was standing at the bus stop with all the other pioneers. Everybody here? Let's see. I don't think we know this girl, though. Maybe. Or this guy. I'm doing fine, Virgil. How are you doing? Virgil is now playing Warframe. Begin Olga Dmitrievna. You're leaving our camp today, and I'd like to tell you something in parting. She was visibly nervous and desperately lost for words. Nobody paid me to play this. I hope that you'll remember the time you spent here for a lifetime, and that you'll retain only pleasant memories about Sovyanok. I also hope that you became at least a little bit better, managed to learn something and found new friends. Just come back next year. The camp leader looked away. It's like she was trying to keep the tears inside. I didn't expect her to get so emotional. Hello, Bildo Torn. Good luck, Torn. Although her speech sounded like completely nonsense to me as usual. The pioneers started to crowd onto the boss, babbling cheerfully. I decided to hold on a little and say a proper goodbye to the scum. All of a sudden... All of a sudden I felt a deep urge to throw a coin. Of course there's no fountain here, and honestly I didn't feel like returning, but it's just like a superstition, and I didn't believe in them. Bless my face. XD. At least I never believed in them before. Digging through my pockets, I found only a couple of candy wrappers, a pencil and a scrap of paper. I held them for a moment, then I squatted, put the paper on the ground and scribbled a few words. You are here for a reason. Grinning at my stupidity, I threw the scrap under the wheels of the bus and got into the cabin. I found a place in the middle. But the strangest thing was that everyone sat in pairs and only I was alone. However, what's the difference now? I'll either disappear or we'll restart everything in a couple of hours. ... The bus was slowly moving towards the district center, occasionally bouncing over the bumps in the road. It was impossible to see anything beyond the old windows in the pitch black dark of the night. Anyway, I couldn't care less about the surrounding outside. I just sat and waited for the inevitable. For the first time in a long while, my head was completely empty. Pioneers around me enjoyed the trip. Ilyana and Elisa were playing cards. Then I was reading a book and Slavia was reading. Miki was trying in vain to start a conversation with Zenya, and Zenya was trying really hard not to start killing people. Electronic and Shurik were crafting something, as always. I was the only one completely ignored by everyone. It might be a slightly far-fetched perception. I got used to the role of being the center of the universe in the camp. I thought that everything revolved around me. Well, that might be so up to a certain degree, but here and now, I'm only a foreign object, an out-of-place molecule in the harmonic pattern of the crystal grid. ... I'm not sure how long we'd spent on the road, but sleep had already started to overcome me. I was desperately fighting Morpheus, trying to stay awake as long as I could. After all, it's quite possible that today is the last day of my life. Then probably it's reasonable to cling as hard as I could to these few hours of meaningless, useless existence. ... However, physically fatigued and more rip. They ... A sharp pain throbbed through my entire body. However, physical fatigue and, more importantly, emotional fatigue took its toll and I fell asleep. I fell. A sharp pain throbbed through my entire body. No, it should be responding to everyone who types ... Sharp pain throbbed through my entire body. I felt it especially sharply in my temples. It feels like they're ready to shatter into 1,000 little pieces, given the wind-free access to my empty head. Probably, I would not have been able to stand even 5 minutes of such torture if I hadn't opened my eyes in time. I was somewhere. It was impossible to tell precisely where. My mind was clouded with mist. My thoughts were confused. The moments between the unconscious and conscious states when you vividly remember your dreams. I was going somewhere by bus and was about to doze off when suddenly a girl came up to me and began to speak quickly. I couldn't understand a word, but the girl looked very upset. I failed to understand what she needed from me. Time passed and she kept talking on and on. I was getting really annoying. It was getting really annoying, probably. I wanted to ask her to cut it out, or at least calm down a bit, but I failed, either because I didn't manage to say anything, or because my words didn't reach her. I didn't even see her face. I was simply listening and staring and listening. Perhaps it wasn't important for me then. Surely you would not try to remember what a mosquito disturbing your sleep looks like. Surely you wouldn't manage to recall the frequency of its flapping wings, or the inclination of its proboscis after that. And this girl is just one of a million of voices that disturb you from concentrating, from thinking, from falling asleep. The louder her voice grew, the harder it got for me to catch her words. The bus cabin, the seat worn by time, the uneven floor, the rusty ceiling, the cracked glass of the windscreen, everything was floating away, along with her. And then I felt a unique sense of relief. It didn't matter how real the bus and the girl had been. It was nothing but a bug to me. And here I am, hanging in total emptiness and falling inside a dream. Well, dreams can be really something. Not quite a nightmare, yet definitely not something pleasant. I got up, rubbed my face to get back to reality, gave a loud yawn and prepared to clean myself up. It was a really grey morning. Unable to find my hygiene kit on the nightstand, I concluded that I could manage without It was hard to get dressed, my hands were trembling like hell. I looked at my reflection in the mirror and checked out my 2-week stubble. Oh, perhaps Olga Dmitrievna had a razor. It was only when I went outside that I suddenly understood that it was not in a pioneer camp. I'm back in my apartment and I've just come out of my room into a passageway, not out of the cabin. I was overwhelmed with surprise, with dismay, with fear, even with terror. But how? I sat down on the bed and buried my face into my hand, trying to remember the chains of yesterday's events. Yeah, the bus, the last day of the term. Yeah, I fell asleep and woke up back home. Well, to some degree, it might even seem quite logical. It seemed that the initial astonishment was worn off during the first few seconds. After all, the fact that I came back like this after a week-long absence is no longer than my sudden appearance at some pioneer camp of the 80s in the first place. The events of the last 2 days flashed before my eyes in an instant. The mysterious pioneer, his words. But how did I manage to get back to reality then? According to him, I was going to be stuck there forever, as there is no exit. On the other hand, I wasn't alone. That pioneer at the bus stop and the mysterious voice emphasizing the contrary, that the exit exists. Does that mean I found it? I managed to get out of the endless loop. But how? Nevertheless, I wasn't sure whether I should rejoice or grieve. Over the last week, I kind of gotten used to the everlasting inner monologue, the search for answers and the in-depth analysis of everything. So simply couldn't manage this facts as it was, without figuring out what exactly happened to me. Sure, he told me that I'm the only one who has observed the existence of other guys like me during their very first loop, but does that mean anything? Anyway, all his theories and ideas instantly collapsed like a house of cards. Now I had to decide how I should react. Of course I should rejoice. After all, I'm back in the real world. Maybe the last 7 days were just a dream. Instead, there is absolutely no evidence that I really was there. I didn't see my pioneer uniform anywhere. I looked my age, just like I did before. My phone is on my table, fully charged. But one can't deceive one's own memory. One can't live through such terrifically real experiences in a dream. I still remember the events of the whole week in great detail. Perhaps I was in a coma all the time. An ironic laugh escaped my lips. Nah, that's not an option either. Then, all's well that ends well. At least few hours in the camp flashed through my mind. Indeed, I wasn't hoping to get out either from the camp or from that reality, and I was pretty much ready to another week and another one. I'd accepted my role. I'd reconciled with my destiny. And what was I supposed to do after all the stuff that happened? I heaved a doomed sigh, got up from my bed with considerable effort, and went to my computer. That's weird, but according to it, from only 14 hours have passed since my disappearance from this world, not a whole week. a new message in the instant messenger. Hey Samuel, yesterday it was legendary. See you later. My colleague friend, it was him who invited me to the party with the rest of his colleague friends that I was going to attend. Suddenly all my senses came back to me, the headache, the dizziness, all the symptoms of a hangover. It looks like I indeed attended that party yesterday, and I was partying hard, so there was no pioneer camp. And then, where did all these memories, emotions and feeling come from? All of this was so incomprehensible that I became enraged. I began cursing foully, trying to tear my hair out and hammering on the keyboard with my fist. I didn't return to a normal state until there were no keys left on it. Why should I care so much? Nobody worries when a dream or hallucination ends. Moreover, people are usually glad that it happens. Was I really that prepared to stay there, that my return to reality became so undesirable to me? And then simple and obvious thought crossed my mind: perhaps I'm just going insane. Indeed, madmen frequently have visions which they perceive as reality. Besides, I had also the symptoms of insanity. I never left the four walls of my prison. I never socialize. I have lots of psychological problems. Well, that explains a lot. My dark, nervous laughter echoed in the room. Guess it's the right time for me to visit the therapist. Or rather, a psychiatrist. Or should I just surrender myself at the asylum? Semyon, a horse, half my kingdom for a horse. I cried at the top of my lungs between bouts of my manic laughter. Semyon, dispute not with her, she is a lunatic. The racket my neighbors made on the wall calmed me down somehow. If I'm tripping that bad, it looks like only a lobotomy could help me. ... I just sat completely freaked out for several hours, doing nothing, thinking nothing, just staring at the monitor. Long since gone into sleep mode. Finally I moved the mouse and opened a few tabs in the browser. So, what's new? F5. As if the events in the past week had never happened. Come on. Do you have to grieve for a hallucination? Was it real? Sure. Lots of memories? Sure. Looks good enough. By all means, yes. Any proof? No. The verdict is clear. As my future curse, I have long suspected that my current lifestyle wasn't doing me any good. I wasn't ready for such an unusual event, but so what? I'll have to be more prepared for my next trip. ... Night, an endless stream of threats and images took my mind off my lamentations and considerations. An instant message window popped up most unexpectedly. Hi, how are you doing? Sure, quite an original way to start conversation. Doing fine. The context profile was completely empty. Not even a nickname. Just a 9-digit number. You can't guess what kind of person is on the other end by just looking at the number, can you? Sure, someday it will be all different. Unified digital identifiers instead of names. A couple of symbols for a biography. Several types of personality and 3.5 bits of feelings. Got home safely? Probably someone from yesterday's party. Seems like it. You do remember everything I told you yesterday, right? Well, I guess not. That was yet another message after a long pause. I see. Honestly, I don't give a damn who this is and why he's messaging me until this unidentified individual starts harassing me. I could easily tolerate his presence in my contact list. Well, that's okay. We'll meet again. We surely will. Sure. Looking forward to it, yeah. Alright. Message bye. I didn't reply. This odd, screwed up day at last was slowly coming to end. Going to bed, I yet again recalled in my head all the events that seemed so real to me. Where am I going to wake up tomorrow? Would these hallucinations return? Nah, I'll probably just regret everything. Strange, but now I'm really feeling that everything happened now is real. There was just a fiction, a game of deformed imagination, or really something fantastical. And here is reality. Sometimes inconvenient, sometimes it unfolds differently from how you'd wish. Surprises you like this, but it's still reality. Hey worship, resident sleeper indeed. Fell asleep with these thoughts. Infidel. Bit by bit my life resumed its normal course, and I started to forget the events of that week. After all, nothing bad happened. Even if it was indeed real, who cares? That were only 7 days in a pioneer camp. I wasn't killed, nobody kidnapped me to conduct experiments. I wasn't brainwashed, so why do I care now? So why do I care now about the reason? And if it indeed was a hallucination, I could only hope that it won't repeat itself. I was still a shut-in. My computer and the internet were my only friends, and the keyboard was the only communication channel connecting me to the outside world. The F5 key became the main thing in my life again. Come to think of it, it really wasn't all that bad. Yet one day, a familiar combination of digits popped up on the screen. That strange contact of mine had come online once again. Hey, how are you doing? Doing fine. Probably I knew him from somewhere, but who cares anyway? Any news? Not really. Stability is a sign of true class. One might say so. Oh, I see. This conversation was over for me, but he didn't seem to feel like it. So nothing has changed. Hey, NL Sniper. Nope, should it have? Well, it's not like you experience stuff like that on a day-to-day basis. Not everybody gets to experience it either. What are you talking about? Don't you get it? I was starting to. I'd prefer you to explain. Don't you remember the camp? It felt like an electric shock. All the events of that week immediately sprang up in my mind. My hands started to tremble. A cold sweat burst from my forehead. I turned around in horror. I already imagined that I'd see aliens, ghosts, or the Grim Reaper, but there was nobody in my room except me, as always. I ran to the corridor, checked in the kitchen and in the bathroom, still nobody. At last, I returned to the computer. The same message window was still flashing steadily, as if it was a perfectly ordinary message. Who are you? My hands were trembling so much I could hardly hit the right keys. Oh, so you do remember it. My hallucination seems to be continuing. Or did I just leave the camp? Did I never leave the camp in the first place? Or it's just a dream after all? Or I don't know what to say. I admit it sincerely. Anyhow, I felt that this entity, that the only definition that I could think of, doesn't need any kind of internet or communication or to communicate with me. Well, you can just keep silent. Everything's perfectly clear. XD. That smiley at the end of the line looks like the devil himself, stretching its deformed jaws open to devour me. What is happening to me? I finally made up my mind to ask that question. Nothing at all. You're just living your regular life. But the camp, was it real? And what do you think? I'm not sure. If it seemed real to you, then yes. If it's real, it was real. If not, then it wasn't. It's just that simple. That's not simple at all. What will happen to me next? I whispered. Nothing to worry about. It seems that it really hurt me without the use of the internet. Terror changed my whole body. I closed my eyes and curled myself into a ball. Why are you doing this to me? How am I still reading epilogue? I don't know. I started to lose it. Words were coming out of my words by themselves, illogical, meaningless sets of words. Why? Why me? What for? Leave me alone. I haven't done anything bad. Several minutes after, I found the courage to open one eye and take a look at the monitor. You're the reason for everything. The message window was flickering coldly. And what's next? Oh, we'll see that soon enough. Everything started fading to black in my eyes. Noise filled my ears. And I started to feel dizzy. I felt that my very soul was escaping its physical shell. The event of the last few days became hazy, as if they'd all happened to someone other than me. Then the memories of the camp started to vanish, as if somebody was using an eraser to thoroughly rub out words written with a pencil. Moments later, I felt and sensed nothing, as though I was plunged into a state of cosmic bliss. If anyone saw me at the moment, they would notice that I was smiling. ... I'm kind of stuck here. I hit the report spam button, closed the window, switched to the browser and glanced at the clock. Time to get going or I'm gonna be late. ... Achievement unlocked, forever alone. RIP. Every story has its beginning and its end. Every story has its own outline, synopsis, content, key points, a prologue and an epilogue. And there is no book which, if you read it again, would not reveal new details you wouldn't notice before. Every story has its beginning and its end. Almost every. I actually did it. I beat the game. I think. So it was almost 4 hours again, like the other 2 times I streamed Everlasting Summer was also 4 hours, so It's like 12 hours with reading everything. I don't know. You know what I thought that would happen? If I would beat the game, that it would just loop back in itself, like it would just start over without a real credit. But I don't know. So I got one of the endings, which is one achievement. Forever alone. It did loop itself, yeah, kinda, but it didn't start at the beginning again. Well, the new game isn't here like that. But I thought it would just re-loop without me clicking new game. Oh well. That's kind of interesting. Was this owl here before or not? I think not. Check Space Ranger. I think this is rather well made for a visual novel. I enjoyed it. But yeah, that's gonna be it for now. I guess. So yeah, thanks for watching. Boy.